For the glory of the Trust.
I think we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Red Path on this illustrious day of days. It is fantastic to be live streaming for you guys today. Hello to everyone in chat. Already can see that there's quite an awful lot of you after tuning in, which is great. I am joined today by the illustrious Brian and Jamie. I'm Dara. If you haven't already tuned into the Red Path before, welcome. We specialize in World Eaters content, as many of you already know, and we are obviously extremely excited about everything that is going on in the World Eaters ecosystem right now. Gentlemen, how are you doing today? Brian, let's start with you.
I'm doing great. I'm having a lot of fun. This codex looks fire. I mean, like, a lot of changes. Good, bad, and ugly. And I'm just excited to have changes. Like Khorne fucking slaps. I'm doing great. Having a lot of fun. Like, I can't stop, like, giddy jumping up and down when I talk about weird, cool combos. And for once, like, I feel like the codex isn't solved. So, like, I'm having a lot of fun. It's like a kid on Christmas opening up presents. Coming to presents, it's like chain axes and murder.
That is, yep, that's a very good way of putting it. It is like a Cornmas morning. Yeah, like this is, we're on day one, right? Well, we're not really even on day one. We're pre-day one. And from what we've seen, from what I've seen, what I've sort of furiously been scrabbling to kind of put stuff together in my head, this is a very strong book. More importantly for me, maybe. Well, no, that's unfair. I think it's a very fun book. I think it does a lot of good stuff in capturing the flavor, the essence, the kind of history of what World Eaters is, which may be a bit of a controversial take, which I'm sure we're going to discuss. But I think it's just great. It's just like I can't. My mind isn't fast enough to catch up with everything. Very happy. Dara, what are your initial thoughts?
Yeah. Let me know in chat if my mic's okay now. I think people were saying it was quiet. That's my first thought. I am equally, like the boys, extremely excited about this book. Obviously, there's been like bits of information going on around this for a while, and people have really wanted to know what we think about it. Well, today we are sharing those thoughts, obviously. And I would say that I am ecstatic about this. I think, much like Jamie, there's a lot of kind of like historical World Eater playstyle coming into this codex, which is great for me because we've been playing for quite a while. And in general, I think it's done a great job of diversifying the playstyle, of kind of encouraging people to play the army the way that they want to play it for the most part. And it's just a phenomenal amount of change all happening to us at once, which is extremely exciting for me.
Yeah. Sorry, Spencer just confirmed your mic's good now, Dara.
Sweet.
I just want to, so we can stay on top of things. I want to bring up a couple of the comments from chat, like before we even do anything really, because otherwise we're just going to get swamped. We have to start off with Krieg, whose comment, and I'm going to read this exactly as it's written in all caps. The testicles, Mason, what do they mean? Any comments?
I think it's on
There's
par
no
for
question
Krieg.
mark. There's no question mark there. But he did follow up with how many bloodthirsters is enough and why is it yes?
How many bloodthirsters is enough? I suppose theoretically the max you can do is 2, right? So anything more than that, you're going to start running into.
No,
Yeah,
you're
you can
wrong.
fit
Because
3. You can fit 3.
Can you fit 3?
Slaughterbound has a
Oh,
bloodthirster inside him.
true.
The Khorne Lord of Skulls has a bloodthirster inside of him. Now, obviously, the points make that hard.
Yeah, you could have
But
6 bloodthirsters in the list.
I think you could get 7,
I mean,
maybe.
isn't Lord of Skulls has a bloodthirster in him too? We could get more than
Yeah.
that. We can keep going.
Well, you can get 3 Lord of Skulls for 1,500, 3
I mean, now
Slaughterbounds.
All right.
I'm
then
thinking 3 bloodthirsters, 2 slaughterbounds, and Lord of
Scarbrand
Skulls.
or a bloodthirster.
I mean, you can only get 1,000 points. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you could have Scarbrand too.
You can get a lot.
So
You can get a lot.
to pivot us back from the wildness, today we're going to be talking about our initial impressions of the codex. We're going to be engaging a lot with you folks in chat to kind of answer your questions. This is more like a live discussion. We're going to be here for about 2 hours, and having a good time, basically. Obviously, I'm sure everyone wants our like really deep dive thoughts on lots of different things. We have a ton of content coming out over the next 3 weeks relating to this. So next week, all of our content is going to be basically overviews of the army in terms of like the new blessings, the detachments, the data sheets. There will be tier lists in there, as everyone loves. Then the following 2 weeks after that, we're going to be diving into the detachments, and we've each picked 2 detachments each. The ones that kind of spoke most to us, or in my case, I was given Cult of Blood because no one else wanted to do it. And we're going to be putting out really focused videos on those, talking about like list archetypes that will be good and all that kind of good stuff. So you guys are going to be absolutely spoiled for content over the next while. And today is just kind of like getting that hype up and going, you know, because we are incredibly excited about this codex. Like, obviously, there's been a certain amount of the book that has leaked over the last couple of weeks. A lot of people are asking us to put out content around that. We didn't want to do that for a couple of different reasons. Basically, the NDAs were still up for content creators that had early access, which is not us, but we wanted to respect those content creators and let them have their stuff come out first. And we also wanted the full picture before we started making anything ourselves, to make sure that we knew everything and that we could give you folks like informed and well thought out content. And that time has allowed us to kind of think about the army, which has maybe given us a little bit of a better perspective on the overall faction, because I think it's fair to say that the book is not being well received in the online community, right, guys?
And
That's
yeah,
one way of putting it.
okay, so there's 2 things Warhammer players don't like in this world, and that's change and the way things are, right? Like, I am very much so a baby when it comes to playing this game, and I get mocked for it all the time by these 2. My first codex was 9th edition Chaos Demons. That's when I got into the game, and I got introduced to 9th edition World Eaters. And I got to play with 8th edition, like that weird gap of 8th edition World Eaters when that codex was still a thing. Or not, it wasn't a codex, but the CSM codex. I got a little bit of that White Dwarf experience. The 10th edition vibe of World Eaters seemed like quite a yank from what World Eaters was typically played like. Like, I knew kind of out the gate the joke was that we kind of stole Emperor's Children's identity. and then they kind of got it back, and they took it back from us. And I know that's gonna like sting for a few people, but like that doesn't necessarily mean the changes overall are bad. There was an identity shift back to the older style of World Eaters. I mean, we're still fast. I mean, like still move 10, still advance the charge, strike pips, whatever, Angron, whatever. Like there's still stuff beyond just that. So it's easy to get stuck on the negatives of the changes, but the positives, there's a lot of positives, and like I'd rather have like good rules, bad points, and that's like I mean we have good rules, and I would say we don't even have bad points. So I'm excited for the changes. I mean, like everything can't be good all the time, so there's a lot of innovation right now.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the way to put it. Yes, the negativity has been there. There's, a little bit of it has kind of creeped into our Discord, not nowhere near as much as I've seen on like Facebook and Reddit and stuff like that. People selling their armies and, just saying that the army's dead and stuff. But it's like, and I do get that. I get it. Like, especially if you did join World Eaters with 10th edition, with the index at the start of 10th or any time since then, the impression you have of the army, of the playstyle, is it's just this go ham straight away, run up the board, swamp your opponent in bodies, and just pressurize the ever loving shit out of everybody, right? And to a degree, that does kind of fit what you may think lore accurate World Eaters would be: hyper aggressive, just get to combat. And I get that. But that's not that's not how World Eaters tradition, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm not trying to make it a belittling point that your opinion is invalid, but that's not how it was before. World Eaters were fast in 8th, early 9th, but it was a multi-phase speed. It was movement, then it was charging, with buffs, then it was piling in and double fighting, and it was more of a marathon. 10th edition made it a sprint, and it was kind of fun for a while. Then we got solved, and it was maybe a bit less fun, and you had to just you had to learn different ways to play the game with a rule set that wasn't based on playing it in different ways. So I think probably we can agree, and I know certainly a lot of our Discord members and stuff would agree. 10th edition got maybe stale. Like it lacked the innovation. We was all very pleased with
Yeah,
Vessels
it was
came out because it just gave us something new to try. Um, this, yes, it's not hit W and smash. It can be. There's builds you can do with that, at least partially. But there's 1,000 other ways to play the army now. Like my models, I've just got. You can functionally use just about every unit in the Codex. I mean,
there's like a
the
couple
Helldrake's done.
outliers that
Yeah,
there's like
the Helldrake is just not going to see play. I think I even look, and this is early controversy. Somewhere is a list with Angron that will do okay. Like it'll do okay. You're not. He's not an auto include anymore, and Angron is the big burning thing that everyone's concerned about. I think you can still play Angron and do okay. But I think you're probably now having a wider list, more diverse options, the stratagem resources you can pick from, and you sort of like build your list to. It just it's amazing. I, I I'm full positive for this. Full
I
positive.
mean, World Eaters have always also been like from the books and lore and everything that I've been reading. Like we're still a fully functioning legion when it comes to combat in the battlefield. Like we're still using tanks, we're still shooting, we're still charging and killing. Even though we have more focus on the latter, we're still charging and killing way more than we're using tanks. But there is still shooting present, and it felt like the 10th edition index did nothing to really cultivate that. We did it more as a enabling to get to melee, and it kind of felt bad. Like Forge Fiends and Brigands were the best access we had to shooting, and they were like just good enough to
Yeah.
like function. Now they found a way to make World Eater shooting like have a bit of a unique identity of yeah, we just want to
Flavor.
shove your tank straight
I
into the middle
just
of the board so it can get more shots, hitting
yeah.
worse but more shots, which is more consistent but higher damage ceiling because we're just more DACA World Eaters. So that's cool to see. That doesn't necessarily mean world eaters are going to lean into shooting, but there's probably a list out there where you do. I mean, looking down, there's probably you could build a list where you do lean into it a bit more. But like now, I don't feel bad playing a Forge Fiend or a Kalos or a Land Raider for a little bit of gun platform support because they're actually like not bad at what they do and enabling us to just get into combat and murder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for us to get good, baby. Yeah.
I think
Really?
with the shooting though, because the shooting aspect is quite a significant change. And again, shooting. Okay, I will remove my personal biases here. 8th edition CSM Codex shooting was always a viable part of the army. You didn't have to do it, but it was a viable part. 10th edition, yes, it was. You kind of needed a little bit, but the options weren't great. There's no reason World Eaters shouldn't have shooting, and I think the way they solved that by reducing our ballistic skill to 4 basically across the board, but giving us rapid fire was a very, very good solution.
You know what I saw? I think it was maybe someone in our Discord said it today or elsewhere. The reason that we're hitting on 4s now, it's because the mortals are crewing the tanks. Which I'm like, hell yeah, because like the Marines are just screaming at them, being like, put more ammo in that las cannon, use the big Duracell battery, you know? The boys are like loading an actual C cell into like a AA slot for the las cannon.
Or the Marines themselves already crawled out of the tank and started killing people with a chain axe because they were too unsatisfied staying in the tank, so they let the jackals drive it.
Which works because I've got that rhino with the guy hanging out the top with the giant flag, and like my headcanon's always been the mortals are crewing the vehicles because I'm like, there's no way a berserker is driving a rhino, you know, like it's just not happening. I think it's awesome. I do love the integration of guns in the army. I think they're extremely interesting. Like all the platforms are appealing in their own way. I know everyone's gravitating towards the Forge Fiend and the Class, but I think there's a lot of spicy play with things like the Defiler, which is just an absolute freak. Like I think he's 180 points in the MFM now, or at least that's what we've parsed from it. What a freak for 180 points, just like the ultimate anti-Eldar tool. I love him. Another thing that has kind of like I suppose grown like a bacterial infection inside my brain has been the Predator Destructor. I think that thing is just really funny in Gore Tread when you can have like so many things at -1 to hit, and I'm gonna be messing around with that. But overall, I'm like super stoked about this sort of frame shift of like, yeah, shooting doesn't feel bad anymore. And it actually, I think it was you and me talking about it, Jamie. It might even be in one of the videos that's coming out, but basically where we're saying like, it really works in the sense of like, it's pulling the enemy almost towards you in a lot of ways, and your gun platforms are moving up with your combat elements. Not to mention the fact that like all of our tanks are weapon skill 3 and have a ton of attacks now. So I think someone said it was like poetry in the Patreon Discord, where I was like, what you do is you get a raider and you get like a bunch of 8-bound inside it, and you just charge the raider, or you shoot a bunch of guardsmen that are screening something annoying like that you want to kill with your 8-bound. So you use the raider with its new like rapid fire heavy bolters and combi bolter. You kill maybe like 4 or 5 guardsmen. Then you charge the 8-bound and the raider into the remaining guardsmen. Those 8-bound make the raider hit on 2s with sustained hits for a blessing, because why not? Maybe you give it dev on infantry.
Maybe you're Berserker Warband and you want the raider to have AP.
Pop AP on it, and the raider just mulches everything there, and you're going to want probably the 6-inch pile-in, because then you use your 6-inch pile-in to like use the 8-bound to get into the thing behind it, which is what you actually want to be hitting. It's funniest in Gore Tread, I think, because if you have the 6-inch pile-in and consolidate, you consolidate the Land Raider 6 inches into that thing as well. Then the 8-bound kill the good thing, and then you just spend a CP and they get back into the Land Raider. And they just keep cruising. It's like the ultimate drive-by.
Yeah.
It's not a drive-by, it's a drive-through.
Yeah, that's true. Drive-through and then drive-by. It's combos like that, which like, it feels very 8th edition. You know, I look at it and I'm like, you can do these things now, which like, this was what made me and Jamie like absolutely like love playing World Eaters in 8th edition, where it's like, oh, I have dug into the earth and found this stupid combination of rules. But yeah, so all right. As we've said to you folks, if you have questions and stuff for us, we will be answering super chats as and when we can. We also have a lot of questions from our Berserker competitive tier patrons, which we have been amassing over the last day or so. Brian, you want to hit us with the first couple of those, and we can go through them.
This one's actually a really good one to start off with. So from Spencer, what do you think our army identity is now that you've seen the rule set and data sheets?
So
Army identity has
me and
taken a bit of a
Jamie
shift.
have like a full video coming out on this tomorrow, like an hour-long talk about it. So if you want like a full breakdown of what we think the army identity is, have a look at that. But I think, broadly speaking, the army identity now is bully the crap out of the mid-mord. Like, you can no longer alpha rush your opponents. Not that, like, at the top level of play and even the mid-high levels of play, I don't think you could do that really anyway in a competitive setting. But now the game really wants you to play passive-aggressive. The game wants you to set up in your staging, set up well, and make efficient, powerful push turns which have lots of jank built into them. And I think that's regardless of detachment. Some detachments lean into specific things a little bit more, but I think overall the playstyle for the army is like mid-table bully. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, we went from extreme threat range projection of like when you start the game and you're like, hey, Angron moves 22 turn 1 and charges. Eightbound move 23 turn 1 and charge, right? Your opponent's going to back the hell up. Well, now you still can do that a little bit, right? You have your spawn, which are insane, by the way. World Eaters spawn are
We actually
really
just got
insane.
a super chat from Don asking why spawn are the best unit in the book.
Actually,
let's
Death Guard,
now.
Death Guard spawn are a war crime. I thought World Eaters spawn were absurd, and then I played against Death Guard spawn. Those things need to get put in the dirt. Okay, those are like 120 point data sheets over in Death Guard. But the World Eater one is probably like an auto include 2 to 3. I mean, let's just talk about like this freak, right? Like we had this alpha strike capacity in the past where you could threaten to move your exalted 8-bound 23 inches in charge, right? Well, the one thing that we always sucked at as an army is trading efficiently while skirmishing. So that 5-man Berserker squad kind of scratched that itch a little bit, but it was like okay. It was like above average, I'd say, for that. You know what's like well above average? In fact, setting the line now, it's these little like spaghetti ball man things. They got on the charge in Berserker Warband, 2d6 plus 10 attacks, potentially with sustained hits, dev wounds. They scout 8. They have advance and charge built in. So you look at your opponent, and now you tell them your threat range with your spawn, and then they're going to be like, oh, it's spawn, and then they're going to disrespect it. But then these things are going to come out and just like clap 10 intercessors off the board, put them in the dirt, and then your opponent's going to be like, oh my god, you have 2 more of those? And then that's just going to be how the game goes. And they're still annoyingly durable, annoyingly fast. So like, as far as answering the army identity question, we still have ways to threaten your opponent turn 1 with little pokes. But what's going to come is the slow dump truck coming behind it that's going to like come up turn 2, turn 3, and you're just going to be dumping rhinos and 8 on your opponent's face. You're still scouting. You're still threat projecting. Your alpha is not as consistent or reliable. I mean, some of the detachments still have ways to advance and charge. So we have ways to still like passively threaten that like 17-inch move and charge. But that's not an army-wide thing anymore, and that's okay because that was kind of toxic, honestly. That was like a really toxic gameplay pattern.
Me and Jamie kind of went into it in that playstyle video, but like, this is maybe going to be a bit of a stinger for people. Like, the advance and charge alpha rush playstyle for World Eaters was not healthy for the World Eater player or their opponent. Like, if you didn't know how to counter it, it felt fucking bad if you just got run the fuck over. It was like being shot off the board by Tau in turn 1. It's functionally the same like play experience.
And the advance and charge.
I never enjoyed a game when I advance and charge turn 1.
Yeah, like, because the game's over in half an hour, and you're like, man, why am I here? You know.
And then the advance and charge tax is also real, where a lot of our data sheets are pointed up 20% because of what they could be doing, which at a higher table, your opponent's not going to let you get away with alphaing them turn 1, which is why like it's not even like I'm not really upset to see it go. We still have the threat range projection we had enough to threaten your opponent to respect it at a top table. Without being able to crater somebody turn 1, and I mean, I guess the benefit was you got to go get lunch early round 1. Like that was what we had.
But like,
I mean, you can still do that.
You're paying like $80 to go to a tournament and just like smash someone's door in turn 1. And then, like,
So
if that's how you base your own personal playstyle off of, you're probably losing your next 4 games. Like,
And then now you have like now we're gonna be playing a little bit more passive aggressive of just like poking and taking away their screens because that's what your spawn, your goremongers, those initial 8 Berserker bombs that you're gonna be sending out. They're gonna be taking away your screens and your opponent's scoring, and they're gonna start chipping away at little pieces of their army until all they have left is the actual meat. And then when the meat comes out to play the game and the meat has to come out and stand on the objective, that's when you hit them upside the head with a cast iron skillet, right? Like,
And if you
and that's
look
why
at
the guns are important too, because like you're
that,
baiting your
that's
opponent
where
to the
I'm
middle of the
going to
board.
go. If you look at like the rules of our better gun platforms, Forge Fiends reroll at half range. Defilers can shoot within, a unit set up within 12. Rapid fire on everything, meaning it's more effective at half range and much more useful given the ballistic seal change. So it's a combination of effective skirmishing and then kind of zone control. It's not really board control anymore, but you can say, okay, you guys, we've eliminated your scouts and your 5-mans and stuff. You've got to come to us to play the game because we're set up on our half of the mid table, but we will overwatch you. We will overwatch you with this
Forge Fiend Overwatch hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And if
And
you're playing
because
the funny demon detachment,
yeah, and you
oops,
shoot bloodletters
bloodletters.
as well. But and I mean,
Oops.
there's the thing. Not only is it effective, you've eliminated a good part of their trash, so that they're now coming up with maybe their sort of 10-man bricks or their 5-man warden squad or something. The stuff that you want to be putting those Forge Fiend shots in. So it is definitely that mid-table brawl. The army rules just feel like they're designed to come and meet in the middle, which is exactly what battle in the 41st millennium should be, right? That's how it should be. A lot of shooting, a lot of punching, and then last man standing sort of thing.
it's also like 8th and 9th edition playstyle, which me and Jamie love. But yeah, tune in tomorrow, folks, to get our real deep dive into that one. Brian, you got another question for us?
Yeah.
We have a
Well,
ton
while
of
he's
Patreon
looking, I've got a
questions.
very quick super chat. You have to guess who it's from. How many testicles is too many for an
I'm not
exotic
answering
baby?
any more Krieg super
No.
chats.
Okay. And then I think the other super chat, where did it go?
So this is from Red Rum.
Oh, here we go.
How will the RB2K or the Brosy look like with the Codex?
All right, this is a good one. Everyone knows the RB2K and Brosy. If you don't, they're 2 archetypes which kind of came out of the Red Path and were like widely touted as like the best Berserker Warband and the best Vessels of Wrath lists. And they were really good for everyone basically. Both of those are dead as fuck now. They are so completely different, and this is something which I would say, like, I'm gonna be very brief on this because I don't want to get like too much into like lists or alternatives, because like you can take a certain amount of information from the index and bring it into the codex for sure. You can take a certain amount of skill. You can't bring lists because the lists are so fundamentally different. They're asking for completely different things now, and if you try and like modify your index list to like work in the codex, you're gonna have to basically build it from ground up. Like, it's just a completely different environment. We don't know what is going to be the best thing. There probably isn't really going to be the best thing, at least not for a very long time, because all the detachments are functionally quite viable. Even though a lot of people, especially a lot of other kind of groups that have been putting out content today, are trashing on Possessed Slaughterband, I'm gonna win a fucking major with that. Shut up, Brian. Shut up. You shut down. I am going to win a major with 36 oiled crop top men, and then I'm going to release a range of wrestler body oil called 8-bound oil, and then I'm going to sail into the sunset and never make a Red Path video again. That's my thoughts on that. Brian, let's turn to you for the next one. Jamie, you're up.
All right. What was the question?
RB2K Brosy. Basically, how did the index list look to the?
Yeah, I mean RB2K was an amazing list, but it's just you can't transfer that. You just can't.
So the skeletons and the core concepts are still there, right?
Yes.
For the Brosy too, you have your two gun platforms and your heavy 8-bound assault and your weird
No, I
skirmishing
actually
going with it.
completely disagree. I think like that doesn't work at all for Vessel. Well, like I mean, it does work,
Well, I'm
but it's
not
not.
saying vessels. I'm saying like the skeletons of that list archetype are still gonna be popping
But
around.
like the skeleton of the list archetype is like World Eater units, right? Because like our range is like still pretty small, so like the skeleton's always gonna be there. Like the RB2K, the big thing was like having Angron in there and then tons of good efficient trading, which is just not it anymore. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, Jamie, you were saying?
No, that's how I see it. With Angron, just not even being halfway close to an auto take, or honestly, not really generally considerable outside of some very specific lists that you may be able to conjure up. The RB2K just fundamentally changes. Because there's no direct replacement unless you maybe go to the demons detachment where you sub in a bloodthirster, but then you're doing something completely different anyway, so it's not the RB2K. I never played Brosy or DeBrosy, so I can't really comment on them. I'll just accept your guys' wisdom on those. But I think the general idea of transferring a list from index to current, it generally doesn't work unless you're just
And
like an exception to the rule.
I will add that a lot of the choices made in RB2K for unit inclusion were done based off of math into specific meta units, right? The
Yeah.
6-man Exalted 8-bound brick only came into being because Canoptic Court existed, right? And then we just decided to keep it around because people kept throwing Thunderwolf Cavalry in our
Yeah.
face, Deathwing Knights in our face, right? Well, now that we have the loss of Advance and Charge and Feel No Pain, which Feel No Pain honestly stings more, but we can work with that. We got really good blessings to replace it, um, consistent good blessings to replace it. Uh, we're not going to be taking Advance and Charge Feel No Pain anymore. So instead of taking that, we're going to be sitting on sustained hits, dev wounds, lethal hits, fight
Yep.
on death a lot more. Which means if you're just comparing apples to apples index data sheets to Codex data sheets, and you're like, oh, well, this thing got weaker. Well, did it really? Because now it kind of is going to have lethal hits more often in the background,
Yep.
right? Now it's going to have sustained hits, right? Now it's actually going to be hitting functionally like a good percentage harder.
It's going to
So,
get past the screen now.
yeah, and we have good shooting support. So, like, the mental math for like a 3-man 8-bound now without buffs kills a War Dog on average, right? Before it required sustained hits plus 1 to wound. Now it doesn't. So,
Say that again. Say that again.
a 3-man 8-bound squad on the charge in Berserker Warband kills a War Dog on average. So,
Oh.
yeah. 18
Hey, but
Okay.
damage,
that
2
doesn't make
strength,
any
10
sense.
attacks.
Everyone's telling me 8-bound are bad now, Brian. It can't
Yeah,
be.
Okay.
It can't be.
So, like,
Codex
you
is
got
the
to take your
trash,
blinders
right?
off, guys, and just assume that you have 2 extra keywords on all of your data sheets now that used to be Advanced Church, Feel No Pain, and no keywords. And then you'd have to, like, pay a CP and grab sustained hits, right? No, you just have more damage now. So all of that math that went into why units are being included in the index has completely changed. So when we're going to start looking at codex builds, we're going to start factoring in different metas, what our units are actually capable of killing. And I mean that kind of leads into the super chat. Can Terminator still work? Please say yes. They actually have a weird freak build that I'm
Yeah, I
okay
think
with.
we all like initially saw the Terminators and we are like, "Ooh, they're bad again." And
I
they
didn't do that. I
okay, yeah,
didn't
they
do that.
didn't, but I don't listen to your opinion, old man.
I know. I know.
I don't know, like they're there's some freak in them, you know?
They are controlled by
Yeah,
points.
they're like a points drop away from
Before
being
they were
extremely
controlled
good.
by just being
I mean,
just a very bland data sheet.
fucking
Now,
6 shots apiece.
yeah, but even okay. So here's my thing: the combi, yes, obviously the combi bolt are just spewing out fucking. It's like the scene in Predator when they're shooting the jungle, right, Dara?
Yeah.
Right,
I have
right?
seen Predator.
Okay, all right. Brian, have you seen Predator, or have we had this conversation?
I am not that young. Okay.
Okay, all
I
right,
I I
good.
I know who.
So, but it for me, I'm much more interested now in the combi weapon because the ability to re-roll is just making it more consistent, and you're just getting those few chipped wounds, which they took a little bit of a little bit of a hit. What it depends on the meta. Like if we're
And
just still facing a lot of T3 screens and stuff, absolutely can't be bothered. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. I
it,
think they are slightly better than they were, and they can now be fixed with a points reduction. I don't
and
think we take them at 185 or whatever they are, but
I think one of the things that really held them back was the constant comparison of them to Exalted Eightbound. And Exalted
yeah,
Eightbound almost always won the argument because you'd be like, oh, I want my 2-up, 4-up, right? Because that's more durable. Well, was it really? Because like some detachments, like vessels, and you're playing the Demon Prince, you get the 4-up invuln, you got the 5-up Feel No Pain, you can stack the -1 to wound. Exalted Eightbound actually start to win the durability argument. Well, without Feel No Pains on Exalted Eightbound, the 2-up, 4-up actually does win the durability argument now. It
yeah,
does. Now, I don't know if that's a good enough argument to justify them. I'm just saying that
I
they
think they also
officially won
they
the
kind of like
durability argument.
punch into something that the Exalted don't really punch into anymore, though, which is like they're really good at cracking like hard to kill infantry, which admittedly so are regular 8-bound, but like they sort of almost have, you know, the way Exalted have lost their like sweep profile, like that's almost with the Terminators now, I would say. And like in my opinion, obviously the movement buff is huge going up to M7. That really
yeah.
helps. For me, the staticness of the Terminators was a lot of what held them back, but now with move 7, 6-inch pylon, and consolidate, like these guys can kind of zoom around.
And
Like there's a world where your Terminator unit moves like 19 inches in a given turn, which is kind
the
of
the,
freaky.
the, the 6-inch pylon consolidate blessing really shines with the bigger units when you're able to, like I did in that slingshot video, when you're able to just pinwheel slingshot, that's how you steal a foot of movement that you shouldn't have had. And the 10-man brick could have that. Do I think currently right now it's like the bee's knees? Probably not. I mean, they've probably have a weird build somewhere in vessels or in
It's probably vessels or maybe
it's
Gortride.
I'd say probably they're home as vessels at the
Mm.
moment if you're looking at playing them somewhere, just because -1 to wounding them, just stacking the durability buffs on something already durable is what vessels wanted to be doing. Um, all right, and I just wanted to address somebody said Exalted Eightbound was dead in the chat, and I just want to say no, they're not. No, they're not.
No.
Exalted Eightbound got reworked and it got really annoying during the index, like we were saying with Jamie here with the Terminators, that it was why play this because Exalted 8-Bound exists. Well, that argument is kind of gone. Exalted 8-Bound now have a specialized role, which is good. We want to see that. That's called internal balance. They did get a rework. Their ability is actually deceptively good. The Desperate Escape on vehicles, and anti-monster vehicle 3-up is fantastic because
Brian,
maybe you
just
were
can I
wounded.
interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I think one of the Patreon questions, which I'm going to address now, is like if you were to put a percentage on the amount of things in the game that Exalted 8-Bound kill with a Slaughterbound attached, what percentage would you give that?
I would say 95%
Would
of
you
the
say
game.
95% of things in the game that a Slaughterbound
95% of
and
things in the game. So
yeah,
you
you want to
still
run
want
people through that because it's like almost an internal meme at this point, but yeah,
so
it's
as this pressure army, right? Because we're still a pressure army, and you're gonna be forcing your opponent to make really bad placement decisions, right? You're gonna pick away their scoring in the middle, early of the game, and then towards the mid game, your opponent's gonna want to push forward with their meteor stuff to actually contest the mid board. Now, if you have 3 Exalted 8-Bound in reserves, they actually still have to respect your Deep Strike, your Ingress, and 3 Exalted 8-Bounds, 15 attacks in Berserker Warband, anti-monster vehicle 3-up. That's still good, and that's still gonna shred infantry. You throw a Slaughterbound in there, and what that's 10 attacks in Berserker Warband in addition to that. So you're getting 25 attacks now, all at high strength, high AP, high damage, anti-monster vehicle, anti-infantry too. Like
and
you can
it's
just
that's
like
coming in what
bring,
at like around 240ish points. That is cheap
yeah,
for something that can, as we found out quite reliably, one tap a big knight. Like,
with sustained hits that will kill a big knight.
yeah,
Now that is
yeah.
without an enhancement on the Slaughterbound. As soon as you put +1 damage on the Slaughterbound, which there are several ways to do that in the Codex, uh, I think 3 of the detachments
Really?
Yep, believe so.
Demons can do it.
Oh, and
Arch
then yeah,
Slaughter,
Arsenal,
Glaive. There might be
Slaughterbound
another
can
one
do
I
it
think
high.
there's
too.
another one as well. Yeah.
Yep, Slaughterbound can do it. So there's 4 ways to get him +1 damage. And as soon as you get him +1 damage, he's just absurdly killy. Even though he is wounding on 5s, it doesn't fucking matter because he's just going to dump 12 attacks on something with dev wounds. You're gonna get enough damage through.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I don't think Exalted are in spam territory like they were.
But
They're
8-Bound are.
just 8-Bound are. Exalted are just very specialized. They do what they're supposed to do now. They're not like the auto just cram as many in a list as you can. Because if I could take 5 squads to spawn, I would, but I can't. But Eightbound and Exalted Eightbound now are very specialized, which is
Yeah,
nice.
I think they kind of fixed Eightbound and Exalted Eightbound into having very distinct roles that you need some. They're now in general not your whole army. They're
And I'm
they're fulcrums of an army.
and
But
I'm still not building a list without 3 Exalted
right.
ever.
All right, we got a question, super chat question here from Victor Markinger. Apologies if I've mispronounced your name there, Victor. Will there be a competitive Lord of Skulls list? I'm just going to say yes.
Yeah, there will. Holy
Yes,
shit, the dump
yeah.
truck is back, and he's going to be dumping on people. I think.
Go on. Give us your thoughts, Dara.
I think there could be two. So there could be one in Goretread for sure, and there could be one in Cult of Blood. Cult of Blood basically needs minimum one class. There's probably a very competitive list with 2 class in Cult of Blood, and just I don't know, find out what happens. I guess after his MFM points, he's in a little bit of a rough spot at 505. I would like to see him come down to maybe 460 to 480, and then I would say, yeah, like definitely competitive. But I think in those 2 detachments specifically, you could absolutely bring the class. Like, holy moly, this guy got like the most insane glow. I distinctly remember we kind of started hearing possible rumblings about like rapid fire a couple of weeks ago, and we were like, that doesn't seem real. And then I remember the 3 of us saying, well, the Kalos definitely won't get rapid fire if everything else is. And then they just like hit the class with a random number generator for rapid fire. So here we are, I guess. But Jamie, you're the real class maestro. So what do you think?
Yeah, I love the glow up, just the extra an extra pip of an extra attack on the sweep and strike, and then the guns just getting ultimately better. I think now we 100% want to look at the Hades, just because just the sheer volume of shots combined with its range just allowing you to
Is the
proc the
Hades AP 1 or 2?
I think it's 822. So strength 8 minus 2, 2 down. I would have to check the book. That may be changed.
And it's like rapid 6,
That's
right?
what it was. Yeah, it's
Man, that
12
gun
shots,
fucks.
rapid 6 for 18 shots. You can only take it or the skull hurler, and I was favoring the skull hurler before. Now you go to Hades. Now it's going to take some number crunching because your other gun is 3 variants. The biggest shots or the most volume is just still a flat 2d6 blast with rapid fire 3. I think they're all rapid fire 3 on the belly gun. I still think the 3 damage version is probably the best, and I can never remember if it's Gore Storm or Demon Gore.
There's a lot of scary 3-wound models running around right now.
But meta shift into heavy vehicles again. The 18-incher with the D6 plus whatever damage, absolutely back in whatever. It's just good fucking model, good data sheet, tough as all balls to kill. Current 505 points in
It's a bit rough.
It's and they pointed at that, and I'll guarantee you this: they pointed to that because they don't want it strategic reserved, rather than just putting it on the data sheet and saying this model can never be put in reserves for any reason. And keep it at like the 450, 460
I mean,
range.
It is and I think it's a recurring story for a lot of our models, which some of them are a little overcosted right now, right? Maybe not. Like it's just going to come down to playtesting and opinions.
Yeah.
But they're all going to age like fine wine as soon as they start getting brought down a little bit. I would rather have fantastic rules like the Lord of Skulls got a glow up of the century. It was already a borderline playable like meta like model. It kept probably for every 3 non-Lord of Skulls lists winning a GT, there was a Lord of Skulls list winning a GT. It's quite a bit better than it was then. Once the points fall in line, it might actually be the argument for a meta list.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, with that super chat we got, I'm gonna let you handle that one.
All right,
so
the
Darren,
chats are rolling fast now, so let's go through these questions.
Dara,
you gotta go talk to Krieg.
Avoid this question. You don't get to avoid this question.
Holy shit, Krieg gave us $70.
No, he did not. He didn't.
69 cents. So, is there a world where we have a testicle-less list, aka no infantry? Dara, answer this. No backs out.
100%. Gortread.
I mean,
Gortread. You rock up with like 3 Hellbrute Beyblades, like 3 Forge Fiends, and a Kloss, and that's probably pretty close to 2,000 points. And it's not terrible. And a Demon Prince, I guess, because you need some character to be the Warlord.
Yeah.
it's probably terrible. Don't say it's not terrible.
It's
Listen,
not terrible because that's the first list I
He
fucking run.
didn't ask if it would be viable. He asked, "Is there a world where you can make a list?" And yes, there is. And you'll probably go like 1 and 4, but you won't go 0 and 5.
No, dude, I'll guarantee.
And the guy that loses to
I'll
that
do
is
3 and
going to
2.
rethink his Warhammer career.
As he
I'll do
well
3
and
and
should.
2 without absolutely. No, I'm not even needing to bet on that. I will do 3 and 2 with that list.
Okay. Zachary Allen, thanks for super chat. For Exalted, what is the current vibe on squad size? Well,
3.
as I said,
only ever
I
3.
think the 3-man has a home in pretty much every list. You could make a design choice not to, and that's fine.
I think it's 3 solo
it's-
or 3 with the slaughter band. Like,
which is nice about the Slaughterbound because it's we'll be going into depth on that guy later.
6 guys just overkills every target. If you're running slaughter band, never ever run 6 exalted.
Listen, I know that's kind of where we were sort of discussing it. Once points, if points were to change, because we know we've got a data slate coming, and then 6 months later there'll be another. The meta's going to go fucking crazy. There is a world though when the points are just right, where you take the 6-man with the slaughter band to res them, and you just frustrate your opponent because it's not 500 points of your army anymore. It's like, once it's, I don't know, 350 for that combo. Come on, man, you're gonna piss some people off.
I think I'd rather do that with regular 8-band than exalted though.
Yeah,
because the 6-man regular. I mean, I guess this is a good point to talk about the difference between the Index and the Codex. One of the things I was looking at is we leaned really heavily on that 6-man squad to deal with a lot of prop units. Those the Canoptic Wraiths, Wardens, whatever, the Death Knights, right? The 6-man Exalted 8-bound lost a lot of volume when it came to that, and they don't hit on 3s, and that's where they're also losing a lot. Or they hit on 3s instead of 2s, where they're hitting a lot of that, losing a lot of that volume too. I think that squad is just getting all of its energy transferred into a 6-man 8-bound squad, which is something I want to see way more common than a 6-man Exalted 8-bound squad. Currently, with my testing, I like the 6-man 8-bound squad way more than I like the 6-man Exalted 8-bound squad because it does the exact same thing of high strength, high AP, hitting on 2s, just like go blow up, and it's strength 10, so you're wounding like Terminator bodies on 2s. But context Berserker Warband. Or you're Slaughter Band and you pay 1 CP, and that thing probably kills a Warlord Titan.
Yeah. Slaughter band, it doesn't have a damage ceiling, baby. All right, let's keep going.
Okay. So then we've got Snake Whips with a wonderful $10 donation. Just because this is the best way to spend a Saturday morning, you're goddamn right. And because there is Termy Hope again, if only Slaughterbound could lead them and 10 in a Land Raider.
That is 1,000 points.
Yeah, but it's 1,000 points of BDE. But yeah, like the Termy's still not having a character. I feel it.
Sad.
But we got other stuff to do now.
All right, Brent. We got some more Patreon questions.
Yep.
Yeah. How many from not ATF? How many Berserkers do you think it will be good to have ready for the rest of the edition?
Like ready models, I would say
Now,
30.
that is a loaded question.
Yeah.
I think 30 is a pretty safe bet for most people, unless you're skewing into something really heavy. That should give you excess for like if points change around. But I think if you wanted to be like fully safe 40, but also like if you're a World Eater player, where the hell don't you already have like 80 ready to go? I think I counted like last week. I've got like 140 Berserkers.
Man, I'm looking at 15 painted next to me. So like that's a loaded question because Berserker Warband lists are playing still between 10 to 20. At least the ones that I've been looking at and building with. You could argue that a Gortread one wants to see 40. You could argue that it wants to see 60. And that's kind of just a weird stat check meme that you can like throw at people in teams, and it's suddenly not a meme. Invocatus with the 20 bomb. That's
Oh yeah, you like it now, do you? You didn't like it when I
don't
told
like
you
it,
about
but
it.
I'm saying that
Come
you
on,
gotta,
come on.
Pretty good
Talk,
answer to
Brian.
this.
Say
There's a
something.
pretty good answer.
the answer
ultimately,
is
look, if you are going to main or are already maining World Eaters, just keep growing the collection. 40 as a stopping point for the edition, I think will be more than sufficient. That doesn't mean buy 40 now or buy the next 20 now. Just, every time you go to an RTT and you pay your game store tax, buy a box of Berserkers, or what have you. Berserkers will always be in World Eaters. So even if they're not, if you're not needing a whole bunch of them right now, in a year's time, in 2 years, 5 years, they'll peak. There'll be a time where you do want 40, 50 Berserkers in a list. Just don't blow all your money now. But if you are going to play World Eaters, keep adding them to the hobby pile.
And
That's my
while we're talking about Berserkers, we might as well go ahead and crack that. I mean, address the elephant in the room. With Berserkers receiving their change coming into the Codex, and broadly what our opinions are of them. Because that is probably one of the sources of negativity that I feel like is a little
Yeah,
unwarranted.
we've already talked about Angron. I
Um,
guess the two other big sources of like unwarranted negativity are like
Because
Berserkers and the army speed, which we've already talked about. But Zerg's
Angron is
like
Angron and speed are genuinely something you can be upset about losing.
I
Of
don't
viability on.
really agree with speed. I think fair enough for Angron. I think like if you're
Uh,
really upset
What
about the speed loss, like it's crazy. But
Berserkers, yes, them being strictly worst Crusaders now, which are just strength 4 chainswords with 5 attacks apiece on like Black Templar Crusaders. I mean, yeah. As I said, take your blinders off. Stop thinking about them as just the raw data sheet. They have 2 extra keywords stapled to them. Plus, they have Khorne the Betrayer now, who is insane in this codex. It's probably stapled to them. They're probably +1 to hit from the Eightbound standing next to them. They move 8 now. They Blood Surge D6 +2, multiple detachments, abuse that Blood Surge in some way. Berserker Warband, auto surging 8. Then you have Gore Tread, reactive
opinion.
disembarking, getting out, and basically blood surging D6 +5, right? They had, and I know the strength 4 feels weird. I would rather have had the +1 strength, +1 attack stick around and all of our stuff be 1 strength higher, but that is what it is. Does that mean they're objectively weaker? No, they're actually probably stronger in the Codex than they were in the Index. Did that change just feel weird and not really like it feels off. The change felt off, bumping them down in strength, because they've always been 1 pip higher. But there's most of the detachments that want to be playing Berserkers anyways make up for it in some capacity.
yep.
And having 8 access to AP2 Berserkers and Berserker Warband now, and having access to AP2 Berserkers and Vessels of Wrath, and having Gore Tread giving them a reason to play Mo fights first. Like you still get to keep your fights first Mo there. Um, they're the detachments that care about playing Berserkers do not feel that pain from them being
It's
dropped
like
in
it's
strength.
really pointless to talk about like, oh yeah, the raw Berserker datasheet only does this much damage because anytime that you're fucking using the raw Berserker datasheet in the game, it's going to have like a multitude of different things strapped to it. Like it's just it's yeah, it's just
I
insane.
the
Well, I
brick
ran the numbers. I ran the numbers on. I can't remember the exact stuff. It was either the 10 or the 20 with Khan, with Eightbound nearby, and in Berserker Warband. And just the sheer volume of attacks, it's just oppressive. It's insane. And it was doing, I can't remember what I pitted it up against, but it was rip and tearing. And that was before factoring in the 4, or yeah, it was a 20 man, the 4 glaive eviscerators and Calm. Now, yes, it's a lot of points and stuff, but it was like, man, even at strength 4, strength 6, whatever it was, their damage ceiling is one of those examples of who the fuck knows.
Yeah. I would say like the best way of visualizing this is just like if you're not sure about something or how it feels, hop onto Unit Crunch, put the data sheet in to Unit Crunch, put it against like your Gek equivalent, put it into your tank equivalent, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then just like gradually apply each buff as you can use them, and just see what happens and have that kind of conversation with yourself, I would say.
I played a game against Dark Angels with -1 damage Terminators, right? 5 Deathwing Knights walked out in the middle of the board, and I launched Karn +10 at them with +1 to hit from 8 pound, with lethal and sustained, and I picked up Dev from the other side of the board. So these Berserkers had lethal dev sustained, the demon print standing next to them gave them a bonus AP, so they're hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s with lethal and sustained, wounding on 4s, re-rolling 1s with dev, and I didn't even get to the big eviscerators, the Deathwing. I didn't even get to Khorne. They were dead before Khorne or the eviscerators in the squad swung. And that math, and you know how much I hate wardens, everybody on this channel, that math will also massacre Custodian wardens through the Four of Field no Pain. Like, Index could not do that.
Yeah.
Index Berserkers did not do that. Now, in the detachments where it matters, having the Berserkers be AP2, which is now multiple detachments, like, 2-up Armor of Contempt is not something to be afraid of nearly as much anymore, which is a huge problem that we had in the Index, which is the reason why you're only seeing 10, 15 Berserkers, because we didn't play them to play Berserkers, we played them to play Mo.
Yeah.
And now 10 Berserkers solo and a Rhino is like kind of a drug right now for me.
Alrighty. We're up to over 200 people viewing as well. Hello everyone who's tuning in. You're obviously watching the Red Path and we're reacting to the Codex. We're just coming up on an hour into this stream and we're chatting away. We're going through some Patreon questions and answering your own questions as they come up with super chats in the stream alongside us. Obviously, if you haven't already, do please subscribe. And if you want to support us more, you can check us out on Patreon or hop into our Discord, which is free to join. And there's absolute madness going on inside there. Brian, why don't we roll on with the Patreon questions? What you got up for us next?
Is Scarbrand the new Angron?
He's a bit of a freak. He's very cheap.
The fucked up part is when your opponent tries to kill him. If they don't kill him, he gets angry and just goes Super Saiyan. Scarbrand's hot. I played a game with him yesterday, and he's kind of a drug. First of all, my opinions on the Khorne Demonkin detachment has changed dramatically since I started playing it. As you'll hear us talk multiple times, a lot of the detachments have insane damage ceilings, and this one actually may have the argument for the highest damage ceiling buff. The single, okay. If you liked old Glavemo, I got the present for you. I'm talking OG Glavemo. I'm talking D3 plus the D3 damage, D3 attacks. So let's talk about the Demon Prince in that detachment, where you can give him a +1 strength, +1 attack, +1 damage enhancement. And after you unlock the Lance Blessing, which should be the first one you race towards, you can give this dude like lethal sustained hits, +1 to hit for whatever reason, twin linked Lance dev wounds at damage 4 with like 10 or 11 attacks. Rerolling, just rerolling at some absurd strength. Like, that's just the old Mo back. I mean, that's kind of fucked up to say that Mo is on par with the enhancement juiced up Demon Prince, but that's what we had, and we have that back now on like Artillery Captain Demon Prince now, which is what he is now.
Yeah, Demon Princes are fire now.
But Scarbrand is like a big part of that detachment as well. I don't think I'm going to write a list for the Demonkin detachment that does not have Scarbrand in it. Like, that detachment rocks. I love Scarbrand. Scarbrand's sick. So if you have like that hole in your heart where you're missing Angron, just play the demon attachment.
You can fill that hole with so many different things now. Somebody clip that.
That detachment's legitimately
have a bloodthirster inside you.
That detachment's literally one of the most fun ways to play this army. I would argue there is no linear play pattern for it. It's kind of just a circus act that results in a win eventually. And your opponent's banging their head on the table in frustration because Incarn Bloodletters is a thing. Like, yeah. I'd argue that's like top 3 strats in the game right now.
It's definitely one of the best. It's probably top 3 meme potential. All right, let's keep going.
What's your favorite unit after the changes? I guess we'll start with you,
quick
Jamie.
fire round, I think.
Right. Forge Fiend.
Respectable
Do you want me
one.
to expand? Or like...
You can give us a one-liner. Yeah, give us a
couple
one-liner.
sentences.
I don't know. I just think it is the perfect thematic World Eaters shooting unit now. I just think it's like trundles up to the midboard. It's like, I kind of want to fight, but they took off my claws and gave me guns instead. Oh, look, there's some guys. And that's it. Like, it's just like...
What are we doing to the guys, Jamie?
Yeah, it's... I don't know. It's just... he's just a giant, like, everyone's like, oh, Karanak and the Gorehounds and stuff.
Yeah,
But they're
ma-
good little boys. He's a big good little boy.
yeah,
Like,
be a World Eater player for the first time ever, looking at your opponent in years and be like, respect my Overwatch, bitch. Like that's just
It hits different.
it's
yes.
different.
Dara, what about you?
I would say the Land Raider. Yeah, I think like in terms of units that changed and what was my favorite unit that changed for that reason, yeah, it's got to be the Land Raider, man. Like I I started off 10th with such high expectations for it and just very quickly dropped it. And I got to say I love what they've done with the place. you know. Transport 14, cool, great.
Eight last cannons.
I can
Eight last cannons.
yeah, like the 8 last cannons, it's just got that little spicy potential, and the weapon skill 3 with 9 attacks is like, oh, hello. There's just so much I love about it. I love the model so much. It really has a special place in my heart, and the fact that I can put the 6 8-bound and the slaughterbound in there, for like my slaughterbound list, I'm finding it really hard not to put a Land Raider in. And then I had a list which had 2 of them the other night, which, like, I don't know, it was just happening and I wasn't complaining about it. So yeah, I gotta say that it's just a unit that I don't think it's like the best unit. It's just my favorite that's changed. I love what they did with it.
Brian?
I think for the first time, since I started playing the game, I'm gonna say it's Khorne. Khorne got a huge glow up in this book. I think there's always the argument of what's the best iteration of Khorne we've ever had, and I think this one may actually have an argument for it. Um, the amount of so he lost his fight on death, auto fight on death, and he gained stand back up on a 2-up, which I'll admit I'm 1 for 4 on getting right now, which is just my luck, and I'm getting that out of the way for the rest of the edition. But I think he's coming in at 85 points right now, on drop. So 85 points gets you 9 strength, 9 AP2, potentially AP3, damage 3 attacks, giving rerolls, and the amount of bullshit in the other detachments that you can have. Like the funniest one that we found so far is Khorne dying in the demon detachment. You spawn bloodletters in, and then Khorne just stands back up and he's like, "Hey, I'm back with the homies," right? Like, how fucking cool is that? Like, he called in backup, and now he's like, "I'm back for the second hit," right? I think he's gonna be the backbone of a lot of World Leader lists, which is what World Leader fans like. One of the things that we play the army for is Khorne the Betrayer to
Yeah.
like lead the army. I'm glad to see him kind of get the spotlight over like Invocatus and Angron, which Invocatus is a completely different animal to unpack.
He's a freak. He's an
He
absolute
is a freak.
freak.
He is a freak. He's not. I don't even know if he's bad or good. I think
Nobody
he's just
knows.
like. He,
My honest prediction for Invo is in like obviously like not many people are gonna run him right now because he's just a freak. And I guarantee you in like 6 months time he's gonna be in like every second World Eater list because we'll have sort of started to work him out after we've digested the actual book. But yeah, some good choices there I think. All right, what we got up next?
what is the most effective way to put your opponent in Berserker jail? 6 rhinos, or no, even funnier, the rapid ingress Invocatus with 20 Berserkers.
6-inch pilot and consolidate.
Just touch everything and be like, "Shoot me! I'm gonna auto surge 8. What are you gonna do about it?"
Yeah, I haven't thought about that one, so that's also my answer.
From Pissed Dog Abe, will you or will you not? This one's probably directed at Jamie. Will you or will you not eat the models you kill with Hellbrutes?
Why is that directed at me?
I don't know. You're the Hellbrute enjoyer here.
All right, so will I eat the opponent's models I kill with Hellbrutes, or will I eat the Hellbrutes? I'll eat
Eat the
both.
models that you
I don't
killed.
care. Yes, but I will. I'll just eat everything on the table. Dara, it's gonna be like when we was at the
Oh
Brazilian
man, I
steak.
don't. That's what I was thinking as well.
And then tied to that, what is the unit that benefits most from the Berserker Warband buffs? And I'm gonna go ahead and say the army rule buffs. And why is it the Hellbrute? So if we just want to crack open
All right,
just a
let's
discussion in general on the
let's
Hellbrute.
just open the Hellbrute. Look, the closet
So
has been opened. Whoever's got
so
the meme in the Discord can like make a new one of like us opening the closet and
so
welcoming the Hellbrute out.
so I'm imagining a lot of you guys haven't seen the MFM points yet. They are now kind of public and hidden, but they are access to the public. The Hellbrute comes in at a whopping low 120 points, which is 10 points cheaper than it is now, and it's probably twice as good as it is now. Now,
Oh,
I
100%, yeah.
don't know if that means that it's going to be like meta-shattering break, like take 3 of them, but Pile and Consolidate 6. I think that Lasher, like if you take the Power Scourge,
Yeah.
it has like 13 attacks on the charge in Berserker Warband. So you're essentially getting 26 attacks out of it. And you just go full Beyblade and table an entire Eldar army in 1 turn on an accident, is basically how that's going to go.
Until he accidentally springs into the avatar of Cain.
and then he will go back to disappointing you.
Then he will have made a severe
Yeah,
mistake.
but here's the thing. If he's taken out 3 or 4 little sort of 5-man squads on the way, he can go and put some damage on the avatar, and you don't feel bad at 120 points. Like
someone in Lasse in chat says, have we discussed the Hellbrute loadout? Which I guess we will, as we're touching on it now. It's realistic. Okay, you look at all the guns and you're like, ooh, sexy, rapid fire. But like realistically, it's Fist and Scourge, because you have the duality of whichever you want to attack with, and then you've got the Scourge for the tons of attacks into infantry. I don't really know if there's another better loadout other than that, right?
There's the argument for the hammer is, if you have a gambling addiction, the hammer is for you. Hitting on 4s, it has like 8 or 9 attacks coming in on a hammer at AP 3, D6 plus 1 damage, right? Like there's 2 roles I see the Hellbrute filling. You have the Beyblade that goes in tables an Eldar army in 1 turn. Also anti-horde, like I don't know how 200 guardsman list even stands up to just 2 Hellbrutes running at them with the Power Scourge. Then you also have the crack a transport and pile into what fell out. So I would want what's going to be the most reliable at cracking a transport out of the Hellbrute, which the Fist with 18 attacks should do it. If you have a gambling addiction, it's the hammer. But being able to crack a transport and then pile into what fell out, and you have 2 different profiles for what you care about. You have the sweep to get more attacks, or the Fist to crunch some, like, I don't know, tankier like aggressors or something, right? Like they are
so
quite good.
let me
And
just
somebody's saying, why would you not do double fist? You don't get twin linked anymore for having double fist. That's gone. And you would rather have the duality to basically sweep or strike, is my opinion, over 2 heavy flamers. You're still getting 1 heavy flamer.
let me just clarify something where you say just the sheer volume of the attacks. So what you do is you charge the Hellbrute into their transport, right? You punch it with the fist. Maybe you don't kill it. So there's your what's the base attacks for the fist? Is it
You're gonna get 9 in
5?
Berserker Warband. I think it's 6 plus 2.
6 plus 2 plus 1, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you do the 9 attacks. Somehow you don't kill it, depending on what like Invol's got or whatever. It has to fight you back. So there's tactics involved. You have to make sure you don't multi-charge, because then they just fight the Berserkers instead. You need that transport to be required to fight the Hellbrute. So he fights again. Then he's killing most targets in the game that haven't already killed him. Then the shit gets out, and this is where the 6-inch pile and consolidate rule is so much better, in my opinion, than advance and charge. Because previously you would either have this happen with a transport, because I did play Hellbrutes a fair amount, or you would charge into the 10-man guardsman and they'd pull them away so you couldn't tag them again, right? Now you've got 6 inches. It's so much harder if you position your charge and pile in correctly for them to escape that 6.9 inch or the 6-inch radius. So then you just pile or you consolidate, then the shit that got out has to fight you. So now you get your third your third strike on the guts inside, or on the rest of the guardsmen that you didn't kill. As long as you position well, you're getting value out of that unit, and you're doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of attacks you can do.
Yeah, and he's also 3 inches faster. He's randomly 9-inch move now from 6-inch. He's still gonna have the heavy flamer option on him, so if people are like taking bolt pistol shots at him, you still get to flame him. I do think
save still T9.
And I do think you just want the duality of options versus the second heavy flamer, because
Yeah,
realistically, you want him to be good into multiple different scenarios, and he's good at beating up tanks, and he's also good into hordes. So make him so that he can do both. You don't want him getting tied up with not that many damage 3 attacks, getting stuck with guardsmen, right? That's not where we want him.
All right, let's keep moving. Next Patreon question.
Is Angron actually trash now?
Yeah, right now, yeah. We can Yeah.
MFM points have him at 385, so calm down, guys. He's not book points of 410, and that's still probably 85 points more than I want. He functionally has no rules in his data sheet. If you ever revive him, randomly still revive him, and you bring him back, I think you immediately lose the game. I think that rule is
Yeah,
just
'cause
like
you've given up too much.
I lose the game button, just click.
Yeah.
So
I think
sucks.
just to wrap that one up, at 385, he's still not really viable, but he's closer than he was at 410, obviously. And yeah, like it's got to be pushing that lower 300s, like to really be,
I mean, just compare him to Scarbrand.
yeah,
Scarbrand's 305.
Yep.
right, yeah.
So
And flat
and
damage.
there will be a time when I was joking, 8 data slates, 8 FAQs, and 8 balance patches from now, that Angron will return to the meta. So take him, put him back on your shelf. I mean,
Yep.
he's still gonna come back. GW's still gonna want us to see us playing him. We did traumatize a lot of people with him, like just starting the game with 2,435 point lists. That was kind of toxic. Um, this was probably the monkey's paw curling on them fixing the revive because they didn't actually fix it. They just like made us not want to ever do it. Um, Eventually he would be playable. Eventually he'll hit a points cost where you just can't say no, kind of like Mortarion did for the entirety of 10th. And then he'll creep back into a list, and maybe he gets an FAQ rules change. Rules that they've established in 10th edition are never final. They are still going to mess around with it, but I mean, I'm just getting 435 points of other cool things that
It's
I'm
time
really
to
interested
embrace
in playing.
Nangron, baby. It was always the right choice. I told you all like a year
Ooh.
ago. You should have listened to me then. Listen to
Hey,
me now.
hey, the most important retort to that is 6 inches is definitely more satisfying than 3 inches.
That's true.
Thanks, Don. Don Hooson, everybody.
He is something of a legend.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're just joining us, folks, welcome, welcome, welcome. You can super chat and we'll get to your questions. We're going through the Patreon questions. We're just hanging out, having a good time. I can see Mike McCarthy in the chat, my arch nemesis. He's here to cause chaos. Hello, Michael. All right, let's see. What's up next, Brian?
Trying to find a cool one here.
Join the Discord.
Join the Discord.
What
Subscribe to the channel.
units? This is a good one. What units do you think have some good stocks to buy into for the new codex? AKA, what models would we advise you guys go on Amazon, put in your shopping carts, or go to your brick and mortars and buy right now? So
I would
like,
Spawn if you don't have them.
Yeah.
I've got a hobby tutorial for kit bashing Spawn coming up in like the next month. So don't buy your Spawn just yet. I'm going to show you guys how to make it a bit more economical and look cooler than the Spaghetti Man. So keep an eye out for that one. And then I would say like Forge Fiends are very appealing. They feel
say-
like a little bit of a risky buy. I don't know if they're going to
Yeah.
exist next edition. I don't know.
I think 2 Forge Fiends. I think 30 Berserkers. I think 3 Rhinos. I think 3 Spawn. Khorne is a must. Moe is a maybe. If you feel like splashing into the demon side, we're not even gonna get into that, but Khorne Demon Combat Patrol is a great place to start too.
It's a good time to get like the tanks and stuff, you know, because they're more viable than they were. Like if you've always been looking at the Land Raider, like the Land Raider's quite good now. But Spawn are a great one. Top up your Zerks if you don't already have like 30 or 40. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, I agree that like Forge Fiend stuff, it's because they are great right now. Rules are great. Points, we just don't know what they'll be like in a couple months' time. It's one of those weird things like Forge Fiends, Mauler Fiends, Land Raider. They kind of have this kind of like 100 point gray area where they can just go wildly up and down into, oh my god, you need this, to Jesus Christ, like I can't bring that for 190 points sort of thing. Defiler again, I absolutely, I don't want to tell you to buy a Defiler, but there's going to be a point where, oh my god, is 140 points or something.
It's
like
I think 180 is like closing in on that point, Jamie.
I
know
don't care how good it is. It is too ugly to ever see my collection.
no, that's what, but the Defiler is an excellent model that you can kit bash slash, acquire secondhand. Like I've got two that I use, one to double up as my Lord of Skulls. Like I use the legs for it. But like I don't know, you could stick an old Hellbrute chassis or the top half of a War Dog on some 3D printed legs. It will do for the if you really want to run one, because I think they're a bit too expensive to buy brand new, quite frankly. Um, just stick with the core World Eater stuff, and unless money isn't a problem for you. That's really it.
Next up, what are your favorite datasheet changes amongst all? I know we went over our
We did
favorite
that
unit,
one.
but well, we did favorite unit. We didn't do favorite change.
It's like basically the same thing.
Is it though?
Yeah, it
Is it though?
is.
Because I have a different answer.
Uh, okay. If I'm gonna
All right, well,
pull,
you answer yours then.
yeah, you
I think
go.
I mean, Berserkers got punished for the sins of a cursed cultist existing, and that was the blood surge change. Like we were like double blood surging, and that was like fine. That wasn't like super broken. A cursed cultist, double blood surging, triple blood surging, quadruple blood surging, that was toxic. So getting to see the blood surge change to D6+2 now, telling your opponent to back up and stay 9 inches away from you to have safety. That is such a huge quality of life and such a big headache for your opponent. Because now the amount of times that I've been like, oh, I just need to roll a 2 up to be in combat with you with blood surge, and then I rolled a 1, and I was like, son of a bitch. So just removing that feeling now is fine. Granted, now it's going to be I need to roll a you're 4 inches away. I just need to not roll a 1. That's still going to happen, I guess. But I don't know.
I
I
thought
like
you
the
were gonna
D6+2
say
change.
I thought you were gonna, yeah, it's great. I thought you were gonna say the Demon Prince to start with because I like a lot of the changes, but I think giving us finally access to CP manipulation, giving us it just changes, and now we've got some other ways to gain CP and stuff, which allows us a bit less stress on shit. Should I discard a card or should I, get the extra 2 points I was going to get? Now, the ability to reduce an extra free CP every battle round is wonderful. And the fact that it's on a fucking cracked data sheet that is a good combat fucking badass, and just all round, he's a solid boy. Now, the Winged Demon Prince, why I don't understand. Footprints, good lad.
Yeah, if you put Berserker Glaive on him and Berserker Warband or Arch Slaughter, for what it's worth, which is probably scarier, he has Angron's old sweep. Like he
Yeah.
has 18 strength 6, strength 8, AP2, damage 2 attacks with dev wounds and other keywords if you want to throw them on top of it. Like that dude hits. It hits real hard.
Dara?
I really like the change to the regular 8-bound aura ability. I just think it's really cool. It's a much better buff than reroll ones to wound. I've seen a lot of people saying that it's not. That is interesting. That is certainly.
Take.
I don't really think that's like an opinion. That's just straight up wrong. Like, you can mat that out, and it is literally just incorrect. Like, it is a flat better buff.
And then people are like, but like, oh, that means that like killing bigger stuff because you're not getting your wound rerolls is harder. And it's like they still kill big shit anyways because they have a billion high strength and like, okay. Also, to say that we can't kill big stuff anymore because now you just triggered me. Mathematically, if you're wounding on 5s, lethal hits is +1 to wound. So people crying about the loss of the +1 to wound strat. Yes, that was a fantastic strat. And it's gonna hurt to lose it. Having lethal hits up army wide is functionally your whole army's +1 to wound. And again, I feel like that's the blinders thing. Like we're gonna have lethal hits up way more often in situations that it matters.
I pitched this in one of the videos we put down, but I'm going to say it again here. How many of you can count on one hand the amount of times that you had sustained and lethal hits up at the same time in all of 10th edition so far? I'd say it's probably most people. It's definitely me. You're going to have it up in like at the same time in most games that you play now. It's going to be very different. Very
especially in Vessels and Berserker Warband where you can grab the third blessing.
Yeah.
I think it was early 9th edition, and I want to say it was Games Fiend from the Discord, like one of our math nerds. We kind of went into a kind of like deep dive on math. Maybe it was Rin, I can't remember. It was someone who understands numbers that I don't. And we kind of came up with a general rule that in the damage chain from the hit roll, wound roll, save, feel no pain, blah blah blah, as a general rule of thumb, not for every situation, it was generally better to buff yourself as early in the chain. If you had a choice between +1 to hit or +1 to wound, generally the +1 to hit was better because it pushes you towards the average amount of results, right? More accurate on larger volume because that's how value distribution works. So yes, as a general, that corroborates that. +1 to hit is earlier in the chain than reroll ones to wound. Therefore, you're getting more hits through. Therefore, you have more opportunities to spike or just hit the average at each subsequent step. So
Yeah,
there
pushing
are
Berserkers
situations it
to
means nothing, but yeah.
yeah,
Sorry,
pushing Berserkers to hitting on twos, rerolling ones with Khorne, like
yeah,
that's just disgusting. Like you can't
yes.
whiff. Like the amount
I
of
mean, if
times
it's
I've
the
been
same
like,
on there, like
yeah,
you
the
don't
amount
have
of
hands big enough for the dice.
yeah,
Like,
the amount of times I've rolled a Berserker attack and been like, all right, I get to reroll ones, and I look down and half of them are twos, and I'm like, son of a bitch, just like
yeah,
I don't even get to reroll them. Like that just doesn't happen.
yeah.
Uh, our pre-orders up for the Codex today. Funny you mentioned that. Pre-orders go live in about 40 minutes, and you'll see me frantically starting to ignore the chat so I can put my credit card into GW's website. The fight for that collector's codex is gonna be on, guys.
Alrighty, let's keep going. I'll be back in just a minute. I'm just gonna refill my water, guys. But yeah, you keep going with the questions.
Ask me a question, Brian.
Now that that loser's gone, um,
Who's the best hobbyist in the Red Path, and why is it?
definitely Jamie. I've seen him finger paint a Berserker, and it looks better than anything Dara's ever put out.
Oh God,
Uh,
yeah. All right, what we got?
What do you think the important, this is from Big Juicy Naturals. What do you think the importance of Demon Princes will be? What do you think, what roles do you think they'll play and take in lists? Does the Wing Prince have viability? Heh, that's funny. Is there a core unit in each detachment that we can build around? Thanks. That was a lot of questions packed in one.
Well,
All right, so we'll just
so
start with
yeah,
the Demon Prince in general.
yeah, Demon
So
Prince. I
foot
think
Demon Prince.
the
Let's start with the
foot
foot Demon Prince.
Demon Prince is pretty damn close to an auto. Is it should be almost always the first character you put in to switch that error off on your GW app. Because if you're like me, I can't stand seeing the error, so I'll fix any errors before I add another unit. So Prince goes in, make him the warlord. Job's done for me. Then I actually think about what I want to do. Wing Prince, yeah, make him 50 points, and now we're talking. What about
So
you?
the loan op change, fantastic. That big thing that I hated about the Demon Princes is that they were like 200 points and they were durable, but they were 200 points that just got dropped like that. So having the loan op, you can be really obnoxious with it too. You can like deploy him in front of your opponent's face, but there's an Eightbound around the corner telling you that you can't shoot him, which is the
Yeah,
funniest thing ever. Um, as Jamie was mentioning, the CP economy, now that we have access to that 12-inch aura of -1 CP, and that helps the Forge Fiends get free sneaky overwatches and getting your -1 damages off. Like your -1 damage being 1 CP now is huge when you're within 12 inches of him. Interrupt, like just having that economy rolling really, 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 really helps us be able to play the game. That means we can redraw bad secondaries. That means we can like still functionally do what we were doing in the past. Um, he got kind of a quality of life buff with more attacks coming in. I know he did drop some strength, but he's more attacks, dev wounds on the charge, so he still hits pretty hard. He actually, I'd say, has entered the category of hitting like he should.
yeah,
And then you can really amp that up in specific detachments. Um, I wouldn't call him auto, but he's damn near close. Like
yeah.
he is cheeky. He's a little greedy. And following into the next question, how would you want to be playing him? This is not ball him up, just like we were talking about in Vessels. You don't ball this dude up and yeet him. He's not part of your first wave. He's not part of your second wave. This dude wants to stay on the board for 5 turns, still kind of be a bully, but you want to be getting 5 extra CP out of this dude. Just passively throughout your game. You're gonna just so good. We're talking about the Demon Prince Dar.
Yeah, I gathered.
Um,
Biggest glow up of the century. That guy. What a freak. In vessels, he's
I
just like
mean,
literally an auto take.
there will be a points cost with him where he is um too good not to take, and there's probably a points cost where we stop considering him again. Right now, I think he's in at 200, which is like a safe middle ground point where you can or you can't. Um, I like him. I think he's sick. And his weird cousin, the Winged Demon Prince, is like
Still the weird cousin.
if you're telling me you're spending 190 points, I think, on a Winged Demon Prince, I'm gonna say find 10 points and get the other one. And if you're saying that you already have the other one, I'm gonna say find 10 points and get another one.
All right. Sako, thank you very much for the super chat. Can we get a 6-inch pile-in and consolidate tutorial video? It is actually on our list of videos. It won't be in the first 3 weeks because we're focusing on the codex breakdowns. But in the videos after that, it is high on the list. I think Brian is going to be doing a tutorial, right, Brian?
Yep, that'll be something I'll be looking at doing.
Then we have from Micah. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Never super chatted, but it's you guys. We are charmers. What can we say? Thank you very much for the support. Honestly, opinion for someone wanting to run lots of Zerks. Which detachment? I personally think. Okay, this is my opinion, which is always right, as we know. There's like 3 detachments that are great for Zerks. Like they're great in Gore Tread. They're phenomenal in Berserker Warband. Berserker Warband is probably the all-star for them. Gore Tread is excellent because there's so many things that key off rhinos, and they get Lance, which is very, very good. And the other one, which I think is phenomenal for Berserkers, is Vessels, because as we talked about earlier in the stream, you're going to have the damage blessings up a lot more, and in Vessels, you can have 3 of those blessings on, or
And
2
you
damage
get the
blessings.
you get the strat for +1 strength.
Yes,
And AP.
and AP. Not only that, but I
And
would
you got
say
a prince who made that free.
exactly. I would say if you're a fiend like me, who just has this urge, this primal carnal desire to run 20 berserkers, Vessels is where you do that. You don't do it in the other 2. You do it in Vessels because you deep strike them in with Invocatus, you rapid ingress them in, you put 3 fucking blessings on those guys, one of which is the 6-inch pile-in consolidate, and you
the other
just
2 are the
send
kill
them.
you ones.
The other
Yeah,
2
you
are the
just-
kill you ones, and you just send them into the enemy, and then they have to deal with Blood Surge, and that's not going to be a pleasant experience for them.
So we were talking about like the gameplay pattern of World Eaters now, where you poke away at their scoring units with Spawn and Goremongers, and then you bait your opponent to coming out into the middle board to play. If they don't come out into the middle of the board to play, this is what you do to them. You just send in the boys coming from Rainbow Road. It's like the Mario Kart like star, like you hit the star like that. It's just that coming. It's Invocatus just deep striking, coming in with an airstrike of a ball of just anger. And if there's a chance like you just charge in, also dumping 100 chainsword attacks on something with lethal sustained hits. It's dead. I don't care if you're wounding on 5s. It's fucking dead. And then you just consolidate 6, touch a million things, and your opponent's effectively in jail.
Cool.
And then you have a stratagem to the desperate escape stratagem once you punched everything.
Yeah,
It's only berserkers.
it's kind of cool, and they're
Yeah.
-1 to wound. Like it's just
Yeah.
toxic. It's toxic.
Alrighty. Drake, thank you for the $2. When will GW give us the official points? Probably in the next week or 2. Probably, we don't know.
We're getting the points from Goonhammer, right?
Yeah, Goonhammer.
They're getting leaked around the internet right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Goonhammer had it for like Goonhammer has partnership with GW, their NDA lifted. So,
all right, let's pivot back to the Patreon questions until we get a couple more supers. I can probably actually stay, guys, for like an extra half an hour, so we can do another hour of the stream if we want to keep going and get through everything, because there's a lot going on. Brian, what we got?
hit us.
How does the loss of the +2 move and advance in charge blessing affect the pacing of the game? How do less competitive players adapt to that? Well, the funny thing is we did not lose +2 to move. It just got baked into everything, which is like, I mean, I can't even say how good that is. That's just amazing.
Yeah,
and then the loss of the advance in charge blessing. So the army, and this is gonna like lead into like the army was already really hard to play, I would say, like deceptively hard to play. You had the person that role plays the Berserker and runs at their opponent and kills them on turn 1, and they win the games that way until they suddenly stop because their opponents learn how to screen. And then you have the other side of the spectrum, which is your passive aggressive playstyle, staging, hiding in buildings, coming out, right? Those players weren't really taking advantage of advance and charge nearly as much, like you still could. But what advance and charge enabled World Leader players to do was get into a bad habit of mispositioning, poorly staging, and just getting bailed out by the fact that they can auto advance move 15 inches and get where they needed to be. So if you're asking what's going to be the biggest impact coming from Index to Codex, It's going to be feeling the pain of not thinking out your staging, not thinking out how you're going to pressure. So like really focus on like where the Codex is going to be much harder to play than the Index. That does not necessarily mean it is worse. In fact, most of us are of the opinion that I actually would argue the Codex is slightly better than the Index in power level, which the Index was already very powerful. So focusing on your movement and your staging is going to be key for success. Because if you miss stage and you miss move, the wheels are going to fall off really, really, really fast, and we feel the pain even more than in the Index when we had feel no pain. Now, if you misplay and you miss position and you're losing stuff early, like it's gone. Like it will just evaporate. Eightbound getting shot at by a predator from downtown, don't even make them roll it, pick them up, right? Like they're just gone. So really paying attention to your movement is going to be key because you're not moving 17 inches auto advancing now. You're moving 10, which is still a lot.
It would be amazing if like the World Eaters YouTube channel had a very popular video called How to Play Passively Aggressive, which is still relevant in the Codex.
It's
And
incredibly
available
relevant
for free right now that you could
And it's-
go and watch and
It's
learn how to do
probably
it.
going to be the go-to play pattern, guys.
Yeah.
So Dara did put out a really nice video about how to manage your movement resources, how to pressure while not pressuring, and how to just be a passive-aggressive little asshole in the middle of the board. And so getting used to that style of play, which is the original kind of World Eaters style of play, is going to be something that all the people that hopped on to 10th edition World Eaters going to really want to start to like slow down and take a look at.
We
Don't
will be
roleplay being a Berserker turn one.
updating our like start competing with World Eaters as well.
Yeah.
So we should have something coming out in the coming months to sort of ease people in, because it is a significantly higher skill floor, but the skill ceiling has just like been blown off. Like you can do some. I expect that World Eaters will win more tournaments in the last year of 11th edition than they will in the first two. That's a raunchy claim, but I think that's what's going to happen.
I just want to jump in here before we do the next question, just to feed off some of the chat. Basically, we are prioritizing super chat questions in YouTube, and we're going over chats from our Patreons in Discord, just to give them some value for their support. And we do have still quite a few questions, I believe, right, Brian?
Yeah, we have buckets of questions.
Yeah, so we're
I'm
kind
picking
of
my
sticking
favorite
to the
ones right now,
super
but
chats. And I just will say, if you are already, or if you're not already a member of our Discord, please join. It's the best way to chat to us and be involved. It's free. Like we don't paywall content or anything like that. You are always welcome to support us, whether through Patreon or YouTube or anything like that. But there's no paywall content. So if you're able to like the video or the stream, if you're able to subscribe for free to the YouTube, that'd be great. But really, we really want everyone in our free Discord, because that's where the conversation's at.
It was like the only place all week where where the sky was not falling in a World Eater specific area.
Yeah.
Everyone was
And
just like, wow, this looks awesome. I think we've cultivated
Yeah.
a good group in there. So if you're not already in there, check out the links.
Yeah. All right, hit us, Brian.
Dara, this one's for you. You can go ahead and answer this one. What
Dream
is
just went
the
down.
Oh,
what's up?
Oh no, my internet just flickered and
I think we're good. Yeah, we're still live.
okay. All right.
What is the detachment that maximizes 8-pound, Dara?
Maybe it's the Eightbound detachment. Just a feeling.
Well, talk us through why. Talk us through your
I've
skeleton
already
for the
talked about
8-pound
my
detachment.
Eightbound body oil product that's coming out.
Well, tell us about a little bit of your list, Bruin. Just a little bit. Give us a little bit of spoiler.
I mean, I'm gonna have a full video deep diving into slaughter bands. But like, so I think I'm seeing a lot of people already making the mistake that I did when I started building slaughter band lists. So if you are interested in it, it's funny because the detachment pulls you in two different directions. So the detachment rule for the surge is very good. It makes you want to have these big units of 8-bounds, which the rest of the detachment wants you to actually have small units of 8-bound, because the small units of 8-bound already have very high killing power, and then the detachment allows them to have frankly ludicrous killing power. So now when I'm building lists, what it's basically ending up is like 1 or 2 big squads of regular 8-bound, and then everything else is 3-mans in whatever format that you want, with some gunline support behind it and skirmishing spawn. and like as many Slaughterbound as you can put in there, because the Slaughterbound, you've got the enhancement for crits 5, which I don't need to tell you guys how much of a damage ceiling that pushes. And you've got the Surge 6, both of which are insane. And if you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about 3 Exalted 8-bound and a Slaughterbound being able to like kill vehicles because it doesn't seem very much to you, run the numbers with like crits 5, and then run the numbers with crits 5 and all of those guys being 3 damage for 1 CP. It's... the results may shock you.
This is why.
Yeah.
This is why I was telling everybody to calm down when we got the initial spoiler of that Death Guard character next to the Slaughterbound character. And everybody was like, oh, the Death Guard character is strictly better. And I was like, the amount of stupid shit you can slap on this bad boy and
Yep.
slap the top of the Slaughterbound,
Yeah.
like slap him on the back, send him in with 7 buffs tied to him, and watch him kill God. That is what
I
you're
think
gonna do.
ultimately like Slaughterbound is probably the weakest detachment, but maybe we'll see how it shakes out. Like it's a really fun detachment. It's quite punishing if you're not good at the game, so maybe not a great one to like start off with if you're not familiar with World Eaters. Because if you misplay your movement and positioning, your entire army will get tabled in like a single turn. But if you kind of know how to abuse and use the passive aggressive playstyle, you can do some really rude things. The 1 CP just walk through enemy units is like a very funny stratagem. I found it interesting on the Goonhammer article. They were like, oh, this stratagem seems good, but it has a lot of conditions. And it was like, the only condition is that they can't walk through enemy vehicles and monsters. Like, that's literally the only condition. I'm like, I don't know, man. Being able to just like phase through a screen or an infiltrating unit seems pretty good to me. And then you can just attach Invo to another squad, and then they can do it too. So yeah, great detachment. Let's keep rolling. Don has given us $5.
Had a comment gone, yeah.
When can I
When
go to
can
the
I-
TRP Pokemon gym to face the 3 elites and TTS?
When Dara gets TTS,
Yeah, I have TTS.
when Dara learns how to use TTS.
That ain't happening.
Don just abused me with last night with Defilers, and I
He get
don't
fired.
know why every time we randomly draw a mission, I always get Dawn on Hammer and Anvil, and I have to run across the board screaming while getting my head blown off by Defilers. One of these days, I'll get you on Search and Destroy. I don't know. We could probably have like some weird TTS league of the Red Path versus like random Death Guard players going to get Aiden in here.
There's stuff happening in the background.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right,
All
next
right,
question.
Let's keep going.
Running out of good ones here. Uh,
All right, I'm going to answer Midwest Games while you read it. We just got a super chat. Thank you, Midwest. War Games. Gortrak Rapid Ingress Land Raider with 10 terms picks up 2 units easy for Lance on Power Fist and Chain Fist. Unfortunately, you can't put 10 Terminators in a Land Raider still. You have to stick with the 5 just because it's 14 max. However, the Land Raider Rapid Ingress, I like it. I like it a hell of a lot with Khorne and 10 Berserkers, depending how I'd have to run the points on it right now because I think it's really close to being maybe over 500. But anyway, because it'd be 180, 265. Oh no, that's
I think
right.
you're just under.
No, it's 240 for a Land Raider.
Yeah.
So
and it's 260
505.
yeah, it's too much.
505. I mean, you could put the Mo with them, I guess. But
Which is also completely fine because you give
yeah.
them the like hit the top of the Land Raider, make it angry.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Land Raiders ingressing, there's a future.
So here's a good question from Widowmaker. Are Brigands and Carnies out of the spotlight now as allies? I would firmly say yes. I don't think we have to rely on them nearly as much. Brigands still offer a unique job that Forge Fiends don't, and that's an argument that we always had in the past, is that hitting on 2s and having a unique anti-tank gun and a chain gun, right?
Yeah, but
It used to be
okay. So 2 Brigands is 340 points, correct?
yeah.
You can get a Land
165
Raider,
more, 350.
a Land Raider, and 120 points. You can nearly get a Land Raider and a Forge Fiend for their cost now.
Right, which is my point of we played brigands because they were the best thing that we had to fill that role. Now the Predator Destructor and more importantly, the Forge Fiend fill that role way better. If you're ever considering playing a brigand, I would say Forge Fiend now. Now for the Carnivore, people were saying in the past, like it was the argument of Mauler Fiend versus Carnivore, right? The Mauler Fiend got a stealth blow up that isn't really being highlighted. I think it got 2 extra fist attacks.
Yep.
Its ability got a little bit weird side grade. I'd say broadly not as good, but still fine. It's still a very good Mauler Fiend ability. It still has +1 to hit and +1 to charge if you're wounded. I think it was +2 to charge in the past. So the other issue with it was lack of AP. Berserker Warband, you pay a CP and you give it AP. In Gore Tread, the big argument of mobility. Good thing Gore Tread fixes that. You can go through a wall with a Mauler Fiend now.
3 days
So
also
a lot of the
just
Mauler
faster, right? Like it got
Yeah,
a move boost.
I don't know what its movement currently is. I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 12 or something ridiculous like that. So the Mauler Fiend is and the Melta sponsons on the Mauler Fiend got rapid
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
Just hilarious. So like
At 3 inches.
at 3, hey, that's a lot. But
Not 6 inches though.
The Mauler Fiend will satisfy you at 3-inch range.
I would say the Mauler Fiend is probably solidly better than the Carnivore within the context of the detachments that want to be playing the Mauler Fiend anyways. The 8-bound detachment isn't gonna have a reason to ever have a Mauler Fiend, right? The 8-bound are just gonna mulch whatever they touch, just like a Mauler Fiend would. But a reactive moving Mauler Fiend in Gore Tread, spicy. Berserker Warband in AP3 with like 10 attacks. Those fist profiles hitting on 2s, spicy. So I think there's a solid argument to consider Mauler Fiends now. The conversation on them hasn't been super crazy. They're just
flying
kinda
under the radar.
They're
Yeah,
definitely an under the radar unit right now, and
Yeah.
they are not bad. Like
No,
not a single unit besides Angron in this codex is bad.
Yep.
The
And
Helldrake exists,
Helldrake
Brian.
is still in
Helldrake's not a unit in this codex.
Okay. So thank you, Jason Mizwinas. Apologies for the name, for the donation. Just a random $2 donation. Much appreciated. Then Micah says he will help you, Dara, with TTS. He's good with Blood Eyes. Micah, Dara is just an obstinate piece of shit. It's not about. We've been trying to get him for years to play, and he's just like
The closest I ever got, Brian actually got me to load up the interface and walk me through it, and I was like, blah. I don't know. Yeah, I've got a lot of really good local people to play against, so the need for TTS just isn't really there
But
for
you
me.
could play with me. You could play with Brian. You could play Don. You could play 100 people.
So, like, of those 3
Yeah,
people you
yeah.
mentioned, I've played 2. It's not a particular experience I would like to recreate. I've played you
Yeah, but I
twice,
don't have
Jamie.
contenders anymore.
I
don't
played
have
you twice, and it was like the most toxic experience of my life.
Oh, I loved it so much.
Alrighty, let's keep rolling.
Kind of off that.
I
I don't even know what this one is.
Just read it, Brian. Just read it.
Yeah, use your fucking eyes. Jesus. I came back with the milk for this.
Well, this one is supposed to have me say a word that I don't even know how to say. All right. Thoughts on land raiders within the slaughter band detachment?
Yeah, okay. This is like the pain point for me at the minute, right? So whenever I build a slaughter band list, I'm like, god damn, it would be so hot to have 2 Forge Fiends as like shooting support. And you can build a really good list with 2 Forge Fiends as shooting support, but then you're like, it would be super sick if instead of having the Forge Fiends, I had like a way to get a Land Raider in here, and then I also gain like better HQs or like an extra Slaughterbound or something. And then you put the Land Raider in there, and you're like, oh, now I can like move my 8-bound around and make that Land Raider hit on 2s, and like you actually. So the thing is, right? The argument for the Land Raider in Slaughterband is that, like, broadly speaking, you can kill most things in the game, but you've probably only got 1 or 2 exalted 8-bound units that can take out a vehicle. And if you misposition them and get like you lose them in the wrong trade, you're in trouble against armor. Or you could just play against like someone bringing 3 big knights, in which case you are gonna struggle. But if you have the Land Raider, like you have another answer to big tanks. And you also have an answer to like cracking open a transport so your 8-bound can get to what's inside. So like I really, really do like one Land Raider in Slaughterband because it gives you another MSU unit alongside it, as opposed to the Forge Fiends, which kind of a lot of the time end up shooting the things that the 8-bound were killing anyway. So you're almost like going too heavy into the like anti-elite infantry, anti-light vehicles if you go with the Forges. But if you go with the Land Raider, it's a bit more of a specialized role. And it's got enough like random ass guns on it now that it can clear a screen in your way. So I do like it in Slaughterband.
And then I think we've talked extensively about 5 out of the 6 detachments. I think this would be a good segue conversation into the 6th one that we've just kind of been neglecting in the corner. We want to talk about 120 jackals. You want to channel your inner Josie over here, Dara? You're Mr. Cultist, man.
Yeah.
Do we think that detachment has any play?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. It
That wasn't
definitely
a no.
does.
That wasn't a no. That was just like a don't let your memes be dreams. So
It's as the resident person who's building Cult of Blood lists, it's really hard to build a list for Cult of Blood. I have come to the conclusion that basically what you want to do is not go like 120 jackals. You should probably go like 60 to 80 a class, 1 or 2 demon princes, and then like a strong second wave after your jackals have gone in. That detachment is very hard to play. Like it is a severely skill intensive detachment. I've been talking a little bit with Josie about it. We're kind of coming to some of the same conclusions. Like jackals in that detachment will kill like all the infantry under the sun, but then if you run into someone who's bringing Imperial Knights, you get into a hot piece of water, I would say. Thematically, it's an incredible detachment. I do love it. And like you can do funny things like attach a Slaughterbound to Goremongers and just run them into the enemy lines in turn 1. So what do you think, Jamie? You like that detachment? You probably hate that detachment, right?
I could never play it just because, yeah. I'd rather time and diabetes get me than my back just permanently being broken. So I think like you just said, thematically, seeing that army on the tabletop, I just want to see a Lord of Skulls. I can really like the Lord of Skulls we discussed, Dara, the Kit Bash version with the altar on it, and just a swarm of really beautifully painted jackals just crowding around it.
The Mad Max like mobile
Yes,
altar,
I
basically.
think
Yeah.
that is going to look phenomenal on the table. Like one of the most awesome army 40k armies you could actually see on the table, even though it's not like World Eaters, it's still a Khorne army.
It's like the
right?
Lost and the Damned, right?
Yes, yeah, there we go.
and like
I just
I look at it like when we were doing the CSM book review and we were all like, oh, Renegade Raiders, oh, veterans, which one's the best attachment? And then somebody like weird freak in the corner was just like, I think Chaos Cults is the best
Hey
attachment.
man,
And
I have
you
a
just like look
name.
at and yeah, the weird freak in the corner, and you like look at them and you're like, well, you could be right, and then you just go back to talking about how Renegade Raiders and veterans is like the best in the game because legitimately, Jackal detachment could be hidden the best World Leader Coda or World Leader detachment. I don't think so. It could be. It might be with significant points drops. Like Chaos comes down, Jackals suddenly see like a 10-point like deduction on Jackals, and that army gains like 40 more Jackals, right? With dev wounds, full rerolls, like a Jackal squad is actually a major threat. Like, we need to talk about that right now, actually. In Berserker Warband and in this attachment, if you just like see Custody Wardens chilling and you lob 10 Jackals at them, you watch the Custody player have a mental crisis about what to do with dev wounds active, right? You're gonna chuck a bucket of 40 dice at them with sustained hits dev wounds and be like, you can feel no pain this, or you're gonna lose 3 wardens. Your choice, man. And it's just hobos with pipes, just banging them on the head. And that problem's exemplified in the Jackal detachment, where you can give them 4 rerolls to hit and wound.
Yeah,
yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and I think you can
and
give
+1
free
on
rolls
both.
or something. Yeah, yeah.
So, here, Dara, I'm gonna have you start running the questions now because I got to be a goblin on the Games Workshop website real quick.
Okay,
Got to
so
get my pre-orders in, guys.
I'm gonna start working up from the bottom, I think. Sir Beard, looking at the standard codex cover, do you think our berserkers went to strength 4 because they suffer from tiny hands syndrome? I like that. Forge Fiends are Briggs and the Demonkin detachment to spawn in letters. I think, yeah, we've already kind of talked about that one, so it would be like Forge Fiends basically.
Hold on. I need to reverse back there. Not answering the question, but you remember the meme of Berserkers not having enough. The warlord wouldn't release the funds to give them boots,
Yes.
like ceramite boots, because they was all blood red. Well, they obviously just released the money because now they just got their +2 move baked in. So yeah, sorry.
That's
Just
true.
just an old Discord meme that popped into my head. Anyway, back to something more important.
So this is talking about the fundamentals of improving, which we've kind of already gone through. We've talked a lot about the shooting, overall view, and the new blessings. We kind of talked about that as well. Each of our favorite detachments. Okay. I mean, I feel like we've learned that mine is Slaughterband. What about you two boys?
Go on, Brian.
I got into 40k trying to play Khorne Demonkin when it didn't exist. And I kind of just made up rules as I went along because I was new and I just heard that I couldn't and I chose to ignore it. At the end of 9th edition, I was just playing with CSM rules mixed with
Codex is up, Brian.
Khorne Demon
Stop
rules.
typing.
Oh.
Everyone, yeah, you can now order shit on there.
I'm not seeing it.
I just went to the World Eaters portal. I can add it to the cart right now.
Can you link it to me, please?
No, because I'm trying to buy it. Like a skill issue, Jesus Christ.
We're doing it live, people.
Yeah,
if
right.
Dreadclaw drop pods come back, will Gortrak become one of the stronger detachments? If they come back, that would be quite amusing for Gortrak. I do agree. I think we're like more or less through the bulk of the non-meme related Patreon questions. So what we can probably do is turn over to the YouTube chat now for the last like 10-20 minutes and have a chat with you folks about exactly what you want to ask us that we maybe already haven't covered. So we will try and prioritize super chats as they come in, but feel free to just like start kind of chatting with us now, and we will get to those questions. But I think, as you may have guessed, as the boys furiously try and order their codexes, that we are all very, very excited about the codex. We do think maybe conversely to what people have been saying online, that we do really think the book is extremely competitive and very fun and moving in a good stylistic kind of place for the World Eaters. I suspect that there's going to be a lot of innovation, and we're obviously going to be diving really, really deep into it over the next couple of weeks. So it's certainly an interesting time. Boys, how are the codex hunts going?
Shush.
I'm validating my credit card right now.
Hope everyone else in chat who's trying to get the codex is having some luck. All right. Do we think we will see a Chaos brought in if it gets lower than 480, like a big night? Definitely. Yeah, I think we were kind of talking about that earlier. As soon as it drops kind of below the 480 mark, it's going to be very, very spicy. Can I finish the question of which detachment each of our favorites? Yes. So mine is Slaughterbands, Brian's is Demonkin, and Jamie's is Gortrak, basically. Yeah. And each one of us is doing a detachment deep dive on those, and then we're also deep diving on the other detachments separately, which you'll see over the couple of weeks. Demons any use are just right, better options in mortals. You okay, Jamie?
I got it.
Did you get the really fancy one?
Yeah, I got the.
You son of a bitch.
One. Yeah.
Nice. Can I have your Exodia piece?
The what?
You know, the piece of pizza pie? We're calling them the shards of Exodia.
Oh, yeah, I don't care. I don't know why I bought this one. Just it's like
it's
triggered
cool.
into doing it.
Brian's died, so I'm guessing he didn't buy it.
If I'll trade it with him.
All right.
I was only doing it because I could.
Where are we
anyway,
here?
All right. Right. I'll start paying attention to the reason I'm here now.
What are our takes on the Lord on Juggernaut with 20 Berserkers supported by a Demon Prince in Berserker Warband for that 8-inch Blood Surge psyop? Wow, that is a lot of conditions. That seems like a very premeditated question. I feel like I kind of said it earlier. I think if you want to run 20 Zerks, it's got to be in VOW. I'm not. They're very, very hard to hide on the table, is the problem.
We got our collector's codex.
Damn it. Wait, did you get me one?
Currently working on that.
Okay.
I think so. I think so.
Okay. Let's keep going with the questions. So, thoughts on 9-inch Hellbrutes? We went through the Hellbrutes earlier. We love them. They're mini Beyblades now. Any thoughts on the new Mo ability? You know what? Actually, that's a good question, right? Because we haven't talked about the Mo yet. Mo's a little bit of a freak now. Obviously, he's lost his fights first, but like he's got, what is it? Reroll surges and reroll charges, I think, are his two abilities.
He just can get a CP.
One of those are very good. Reroll surges is obviously extremely good, and then he's still got full rerolls against characters, and he gets you a CP when you kill a character. That's like, that rider at the bottom is what makes me really interested in him, because he's only like 60 points now, so you can like send out Mo and basically just like missile him out of a transport. He's only 60 points. You just run him at like some random squad with like a weak ass character. If you're like needing a CP, you just run in, chop their head off, and then that's it. So he's pretty great. I do like him. And in Gortred, you kind of want 2 or 3 Mo's, I think, because the announcements are very good.
I just realized I bought the wrong codex.
Did you buy the deck guard one, Jamie?
No. I bought the middle one. I bought the special edition, not the one with the.
I mean, special edition's still pretty cool. It's got some great art.
I like the cover of it, so I'm okay with that.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
I feel like probably a lot of people in chat are trying to buy the codex as well.
Yeah. Okay. So we're doing YouTube questions.
Yes.
Okay. Helldrake's where? Royal Purple, just no. No
Okay,
Helldrake.
we got a question from Alias. Do you think that the reason why so many people are angry about the changes is because a lot got into the faction in 10th, and now that World Eaters is more of a spike army that they're mad? I think, me and Jamie kind of talk about this in our video coming out tomorrow. For a lot of people, this is like the first time that their rules have changed, because they did get into the Codex in 10th edition. And like, that's fair enough. Like, the first time that anything changes so dramatically, it is pretty spooky. But like, me and Jamie have been through like, I don't know, a lot of iterations of change of rules. And like, this is probably the best one that we've seen.
Yeah.
It's hard for people who started the game in 10th edition, because like everything that they knew about the army has been kind of swept out from beneath them. So that is tough. And like, probably the majority of people playing World Eaters did get into them in 10th. But if you've been playing since before 10th, particularly 9th and 8th edition, the army is going to seem real familiar to how it played back then. So for those people, I think it's fine. But I can see a bit of whiplash from the people who started in 10th, for sure. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah. To sort of kind of attack the question at a more fundamental level is, why are people angry? Like, I get it, but we have to, and I think this is a big part really of the way the Red Path is and how we run ourselves and try and guide our community. Is like, the anger is for like when you're kind of like pseudo role playing your games, right? Like, you're kind of like yelling blood for the blood god and stuff. This is a game, it's a hobby, it's very important to many of us. There's a lot of good things we can use this to apply in our lives for our kind of me time, our mental health, our, like perfection of a craft, however you want to apply yourself. But don't get fucking angry about it. Like, the rules change, whatever. Like, they were bad, then they were good, then they were bad, then they were good. That's not what matters to me in my life. And I think if the people that are selling their armies and raging on stuff, we've got to, honestly, and this is like maybe not the most appropriate platform for this, but we've got a deeper problem here. It's like, when you need something more in your life, this shouldn't cause you to actually have a angry reaction. Like they could tomorrow change double the points of every model and remove every datasheet ability. I'll be upset. I'll be like, man, I've got, like $1,000 of models sitting here that I'm not going to use, but I'm not going to flip tables. I'm not. I might sort of like message Dara as like, no, this is fucking bullshit. But 5 minutes after, I'm going to go out and let the dog out for a shit and smoke a cigarette and start stressing about stuff that really matters. So yeah, for people that are actually upset, not just about this change, but more that probably get upset about any fucking change.
And that's not necessarily that we're shilling for Games Workshop potentially like upsetting us,
No,
right? Removing data sheets,
no.
right? Sending stuff to Legends, or Angron has a disappointing data sheet right now. Like
You can
that's not
watch
us
our fucking
saying that
videos,
I'm
man.
okay with that. Like we've like
Yeah,
com we had our vision for what we wanted Angron to be in the Codex. Dara did a very in-depth video on how we could have fixed the Angron problem. The Angron problem kind of got fixed, but in the bad way. Um, we're not necessarily defending that. Like, of course, we still want to see our data sheets be good, but
yeah.
like, what are you going to do now that you've been given bad news about one of the models that you have, right? What are you going to do with that information? Are you going to just throw your hands up in the air and say, I'm not a world leader anymore? No, that's just an overreaction to Angron, which is disappointing, yeah. But there's a lot more to be excited about beyond just focusing on that one negative thing, right? There are a lot of really cool builds you can be looking at right now. A whole new, like a lot more doors got opened up. I'm willing to bet in 11th edition, we're probably going to see a further integration of core demons into our codex, and I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for
People have been
Wave
asking for
2.
like
Like,
Rhino Rush for years. People have been
and
asking
we
for
have
Khorne
that.
Demonkin for years. People have been asking for good shooting support for years. And like it's crazy to me that like the hyperfixation over the negative aspects, of which I think Angron, yeah, fair enough, that is a negative aspect, but like I really do think that the blessing changes are being blown out of proportion, that people aren't really understanding the a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's nerf star damage. It's just not like and we've already kind of
But
dived deep into it, and it's people are getting caught up in this, and I understand that for a lot of people it is their first big rules transition, but take it from like literally the best world leader player in the world and two people who have been playing the shit out of this army for years. This is like super good. Like once you get a couple of games in, and like in our Patreon chat, there's already been quite a lot of our Patreons who've been playing with the rules that were kind of leaking and stuff, and pretty much every single one of them has said, "Wow, the army is so much fun to play." So like, just don't stress. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
and like as Dara was saying, what we may come out of the gate, and I am willing to bet we're going to come out of the gate and our win rate is going to bomb. And I think it is going to bomb because people are going to be used to be playing the index style, and they're going to try to play the codex like it was the index. Two completely different styles. I would argue this army just elevated itself to probably being top three hardest armies in the game, probably top two hardest armies in the game. Like the army is incredibly punishing and incredibly taxing, but Eightbound are good. Berserkers are good. Exalted Eightbound have a home. Shooting has a home. Land Raiders have a home, right? Khorne is good. Mo even has a home. There's so many viable builds that we can have right now. It's going to take a while for it to get solved. And the data sheets alone are powerful enough with the rules behind it that with slight point adjustments, we are going to be fine. And that's not me necessarily saying that like, oh, out the gate we're going to be a top three army because when I'm saying they're good. No, I'm saying they're good because the combos that I'm pulling off on the table feel great. And once points are brought in line with that, it's going to be like time to really start cooking. And like I said earlier in the video, I care way more about having strong point or strong rules, bad points than I do about having bad rules, good points, right? You don't want to end up in index death guard situation where you're just like, yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff on the table and I'm gonna win eventually, or like Botan. You're just like, here's a $2,000 army to collect of just nothing feels good to play, but eventually it works out in a 5 turn game. Like you don't ever want to be in that spot. I'd rather be the other way around. So
Yeah, I agree. Dara, how are you for time?
I'm good, bro. I can hang
You
for
are
like 30 minutes or so. Yeah, yeah.
okay. All right. Let me just interject quickly then, everyone. Yeah, we'll be here for about another 20-30 minutes. Um, thank you everyone who's been here. I know a lot of you have just been here for the whole damn stream, 2 hours so far. Please join our Discord if you haven't already. That is our main thing. but yeah, like this is we got some hype going on, right, guys? Like,
Yeah, so many people tuning in as well. I think this might be one of our biggest streams yet. Thank you,
oh,
everyone.
yeah.
And we are now taking questions from the chat. So Branch and Mary Don, I agree. They're always up late at night playing on TGS.
69%.
Who's always up late at night?
You and Don.
Yeah, I was up till 2 last
Listen.
night. I'd say by the end of that game I was probably thoroughly hammered too, because that
Don
was the
and
only
I,
thing both hammered by Hammer of Mortarion and hammered because I was drinking. Because oh my God, Death Guard spawn are a war crime. Like he was giggling the whole time. Do you know what these things do, Dara?
Yeah, they're
They
like the grenade
grenade you
spawner.
whenever you
Yeah.
attack them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh damn it, I didn't kill the spawn in one activation, so I have to grenade myself again.
All right. So Noximus,
Oh,
do we think
God.
the loss of Feel No Pain are reflected? The points that we have now are a reflection of the loss in survivability, or do we need a little bit more of a points drop? I think a tiny bit more of a points drop would be good, but not much. I'm talking like maybe 20 to 50 points in a list, and we should be okay. Because like it's not all about the survivability. Our points are off like a higher kill power now, better versatility, and then obviously detachments doing different things for everything. So like I would like to see some units come down a little bit. Like none of our HQs really feel overcosted. If anything, I would say a lot of them feel a little bit undercosted. Slaughterbound at 85 is spicy. So is Mo, Karen. Like they're all very, very cheap.
Yeah.
The Prince could come down. Prince could come down to 190, 200. Wait, is he 200 now?
He's
I think
200
he's
now.
200.
He could come
Yeah.
down to 190, I think. And the Wing
Yeah,
Prince could
I-
come
I
down
think-
to like 50 points, and I still wouldn't take him.
Most of the points definitely feel wrong around the 8-bound exalted 8-bound area. That's where it's like 10, 20 too much, I feel, on them.
Oh, it's a good
Just-
question from Wild Bill. Which attachment do you think will be the first to win a GT? I've already told everyone I'm going to win a GT with Slaughterbound.
You won't be the first though.
I will be the first.
Listen,
When's
there's about
Dallas,
2
Brian?
GTs
When's
in
Dallas?
Ireland
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, no, it's me. I'm gonna win a major in 3 weeks. Speaking of which, yeah, I'm going to the Dallas Major, and I just got informed that I can't be playing the RB2K, and that put me into, as Dara will attest to, a list crisis.
Brian
so
was
I
calling
gotta-
me at like 11:30 p.m. my time, being like, "Bro, I need some help." It was like, "Why are you coming to me? I'm just gonna tell you to play Slaughterbound."
Then that was not a very helpful answer. But I think likely the Berserker Warband is going to be the first attachment to win a GT, just because it has the most translation to the current playstyle people are used to. It's also got the most vanilla applicable strats. Like the strats are just all 6 of the strats are just good, and you know exactly when to use them. You know exactly how to execute your game plan with that detachment. Like it's a little bit like kind of I don't want to say it's the salt and pepper of the World Eater detachment, right? That's just or World Eater Codex. Like that's just where I think every player should start, especially if you're coming into World Eaters new and like this
I
is your
do
first.
actually, maybe tangential to that, I do think that like we could see a surprise event win from one of the more esoteric ones early on, just because people won't be ready for some of the weird shit that Gortred or Demonkin can do. It's entirely possible that someone wins like a mid-level GT with Gortred
think
just
it's
because no one
Demon.
prepped it.
I think
Demons are
Demons
secret good.
Yeah. Now I think like it's kind of an unanswerable question because Brian is one of the most likely people to win a GT that plays World Eaters regularly. But if no,
Don't put that
shake
pressure
your
on me.
head.
I'm in the same fucking meta as Folger. Okay,
You-
I gotta
listen,
beat them by my
no,
raid boss.
You have to win. You have to win, otherwise you get fired. So it doesn't really matter. But if we take in the general spread of players, people that have World Eaters as a second army, Demons players that transition in, I think the first surge of wins, maybe not the very first win, but the first sort of like cluster of wins will come from the Khorne Demonkin.
Really?
I think so.
That's interesting.
I think once it's got a lot of things which just destabilize and fuck up a lot of things, and you can't handle it. You can't. There aren't inbuilt mechanisms to deal with a lot of the shit that will do. But I think the meta will coalesce kind of around it, or the strategy of the meta. That's my opinion, but I'm not the person that wins GTs, so
Yeah. So Brian is going to Dallas very soon, so we'll all get behind him in a couple of weeks on the first outing of the Codex. And
I
if you
definitely
do
haven't
super chat, that money is probably going towards getting Brian to Dallas because it's a bit of an expensive trip.
And I'm not I'm still flip-flopping on what my list is. Obviously, I have a self-interest in finding the best World Eaters list I can currently play in the current meta that I'm playing. A lot of those thoughts are going to be spilled all over the Discord, probably focused on the Patreon, just because that's going to be where I'm going to be bouncing. That's like my focus
Someone
chat
did actually just
with the
ask,
boys.
do we have lists in Patreon? We have been putting our lists in Patreon chat, and pretty much all the big big names that we've kind of got in there as well have been bouncing lists. So it's a good place
And
to go, the competitive Patreon, if you want to see some lists. But they're just in the general Discord as well. So
and I will
check
be
them out.
honest, like me objectively trying to win a major, I am looking and heavily considering the Khorne Demonkin detachment as the list that I take.
For
Like
Dallas?
for Dallas.
Wow.
It is strong enough for me to consider it. Now, likely, I don't know. I feel more comfortable with the Berserker Warband because as we were talking, the Khorne Demonkin detachment does not have a linear play pattern at all. It's completely a reactive detachment. You are not Berserker rushing your opponent. You're kind of just taking their Achilles heel out and then going in for the kill later on with like Blood Crushers or Bloodletters coming in from behind with the steel chair, and looking for the best opportunity to do that. You're like a shark circling somebody in the water. The Berserker Warband is a little bit more direct, something I'm a little bit more comfortable with, something that's going to be easy to like pick up on the fly. I don't honestly can't tell you between which of the two is the better one at the moment in time. There is a serious argument between both. I do believe the safe answer is just to say Berserker Warband at this time. I think that the Bloodletter strat is messed up. That is a very messed up stratagem, and the dirty stuff you can do with that, right? Like, I don't think we've like broken it down on the stream yet, but like Karn dying, spawning Bloodletters, and he stands back up, we talked about, right? And it's in any phase you can drop these dudes, right? Blood Crushers charging with mortal wounds, blow something up. Boom, 10 Bloodletters. Oh, you're gonna consolidate 6 forward, and the Bloodletters are gonna charge something else. Scouts across the board, the Chaos or the Forge Fiend blows up. Bloodletters. Oop. Mm. You had Spawn sitting on an objective that your opponent went out of their way to like snipe and kill to take primary away from you. I have Bloodletters there now, and I'm holding the primary, and they're gonna come kill you. Right? It is one of the messed up strats, I think, in the game, period. And it's probably due for, I don't know, maybe some tweaks.
That's like the one thing that I read and I'm like, that's not living through a balanced status slate, that strategy.
I'd say it is
Ain't
the
no
bet. It
way.
is the best strat in the. I will say I can't say that it's the best strat in the game. That's a little too broad. I will say it is the best strat in the Codex. I will say
Yeah,
it.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's not even close because it's just fucking stupid.
And then and then that Twin Link strat is also one of the better
Yeah.
strats in the Codex.
Yeah.
And the other ones are just like generically good.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Let's see what else we got. Are greater demons worth taking in Demonkin? Since we're on the demon subject right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
And
hole
all
in
the
your heart where
bloodthirst
Angron is.
yeah, I absolutely think you. I don't know that you automatically do, but I
No, you don't
definitely
have to.
think you're not wrong for doing so.
I think
As we talked about before, Scarbrand's great. The Bloodthirster's great. I mean, and with the enhancement option as well.
I'd say it's probably the enhancement, the +1 damage attack and whatever has to go on a World Eater unit, which is probably that makes the Demon Prince more auto as like your big
Fair
hitty,
enough.
like
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
murder machine. I'd say Scarbrand in that Greater Demon slot is where you could probably tweak your list to not have him and have more Eightbound or more Bloodletters or Crushers. Like that's your kind of your flex spot, but you definitely can't go wrong with Scarbrand or a Bloodthirster. Like they're really, really good.
Okay. Oh, the special codexes are out of stock now. Slaughter Pack is apparently available still. Thank you,
Which
Stuart.
that is a very good battle force to get, guys.
Yeah.
Eightbound are really good, and you're gonna be playing 10 to 20 Jackals, and the Slaughterbound
And
is really good.
if you want to join my cult, the cult of body oil and crop tops, you will want that is it Gorestorm Massacre is the box?
Something like that.
yeah,
I
it's
think
join
so.
me.
Yeah. I don't know. Should Don pull the trigger and join you at Dallas? Yes. My vote, yes.
I want to win that event, so in self-interest, I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I think it's a horrible meta for Death Guard. I think you're gonna have a miserable time. I think also Dallas is sold out. But
And if it wasn't, Brian would buy all the other tickets.
I would buy every ticket to make sure you can't go. If I will
I'm so
spend
glad that
500
John is now
grand.
your nemesis.
If I buy every ticket, that means I win the GT, right?
And we can make content.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come in with the Jeff Bezos approach of buy the event and I'm the winner.
Okay.
I'm best in everything. I'm the best.
Then who are we going to send into space?
I don't know, probably me after you're firing me. That's what you're gonna do. You're just gonna send me to space with no way back.
Oh dear. Apparently you should go to Jonathan's Diner for brunch when you're in Dallas. You're a Texan. I'm sure you know.
Dallas is my hometown.
There you go.
I know where I'm going. I'm gonna go get at breakfast, lunch, and dinner is gonna be Tex-Mex. I haven't had Tex-Mex in 2 years. It's too long. I need to destroy my heart with butter and beans.
Oh, just completely irrelevant. They finally opened an Indian restaurant near me because I live out in the kind of the middle of nowhere here in Ohio, and it'd be like once a year I'd go to a city that has an Indian restaurant. Obviously, being British, that's like my childhood meal sort of thing, and so they opened an Indian restaurant and I ordered some, and it was so disappointing. I still ate the shit out of it, but I was like, man, I just thought I was finally gonna have some nostalgia, and yeah, it really upset me.
That's tough.
That's the sort of thing you should get angry about.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, don't get angry about the Codex. Get angry about the real problems that we've got facing us.
Fucking naan bread. Naan bread should be bigger than my head.
Oh, naan bread should be like massive.
Yeah.
Like I'd say naan bread should be no smaller than 15 inches long and no wider than 10
All
inches.
bread, when attached to a meal as a side, should be like, look at my picture here, like a taco, right? The bread product should be good enough that you can put the protein and vegetables in it, wrap it up, and eat it as you walk. You'll make a mess on yourself, but that's the point. That's how we do business as a civilization here, guys. Eating spicy food whilst walking. We need to do better.
Disflux asking me, are we calling the slaughter band list Angry Beach? I was actually in all the sheets that I have it. I just have it down as Meat Canyon. So that's what we're going to call it, I guess. I don't know why. It's just kind of in my head.
It was great.
And also, I've gotten a couple comments on this, so I'll just be selfish and address it. Yes, I'm wearing a Lions hat. Go Lions. The draft went okay, and hopefully if we don't get scammed by refs next year, we'll be fine. I'm also wearing a hat for another reason, other than, as Jamie will say, being just a generally boring personalityless person. I did shave my head, and it has been growing back.
Shaved, Brian.
It's because it's been growing back for a bit, but I did get rid of all of my hair in solidarity with somebody that was going through a hard medical time and losing their hair. So I have no hair. So now when I'm in public, I have to wear a hat because I do not like how wind feels on top of my head. It freaks me out, and I like curl up in a ball and start crying. So until my hair grows back, hats stay on.
I knew everyone would like Meat Canyon. I might change my Discord name to Lord of Meat Canyon.
Lord of Meat.
Have you seen the one where it's like RFK and JD Vance and stuff with the baby?
No.
Oh, I'd seen it before, but I watched it. It was great.
Context lost on the European.
No, it's a YouTube or it's a channel. It's an animation, Meat Canyon.
Oh, sorry, I know that. Yeah. I thought they got like taken down because they did copyright stuff. I thought.
Oh, I don't know. I just saw one. Yeah,
it's some weird shit there.
Yeah,
it's quite funny though. Alrighty, I think we're kind of about there, right?
Well, yeah, we've gone way off topic now. I think
we have. Now we're
talking about Meat Canyon, bald heads, and the Lions.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right.
Sports ball.
We're gonna start kind of finishing this up, folks. But it's been a hell of a stream. It's been a hell of a day. I think we're just over about 1,000 people tuned into this, which was pretty awesome.
Wow.
Obviously, thank you so much for all the super chats. Anyone who has subscribed or joined the Patreon or the members section or liked or commented on the video, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. Everyone in chat, thank you for hanging out. All our Patreons for all the great questions. Thank you so much. I think before we close it out, obviously we'll do a little bit of a quick roundtable about the Codex and just kind of give a couple of one-liners as to how we're feeling about it. Why don't we start with you, Brian?
Yeah, I'm excited. This is what I wanted. when I came into 9th edition, I got handed the World Eaters 9th edition Codex, which was a little disappointing because it was like the first pre-10th edition Codex. It was like between them and was it? No, we were like the only like you could tell it was a 10th. It was a prep for the Index Codex, and it really kind of lacked content for me, right? The White Dwarf was a great time to live in, but I got one detachment and one way to play the Codex in 9th edition with 6 strats, and they basically set it up to model 10th edition. And I was like, wow, I guess this is the only way I get to play this army, which is fine. It was a fun way to play it. And Blood Tithe was awesome, but there wasn't really much like choice and variety. And then we got put into the Index immediately after that. And yeah, not much choice and variety. Now I finally have choices and variety for the first time in my Warhammer career while playing World Eaters. I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited to just be a kid in the sandbox, and I'm happy that there are multiple detachments being talked about right now that have play. That is all I could have ever wanted from a codex. We could have ended up being the Custodes or Dark Angels codex, where it was just like, damn, this kind of just sucks, and you just stare at a bunch of nothing. We don't have that. Every single detachment has play. Every single detachment has a home. Every single detachment gives a home to a unit. Um, I think our rules are fantastic. I think once points come in line, we have the opportunity to be a fantastic army in the meta. And by no means do I think even in this moment are we a bad army. And that makes me happy that we got on Khorne Christmas today or World Easter, um, we got a nice little toy to play with. And I am happy sitting with this toy until 11th. I think this is awesome.
Yeah. My take is it's a milestone codex. I feel like through the history of 40k, like you look at World Eaters slash Chaos Space Marines Chaos, you have 3.5, you have Khorne Demonkin in 7th edition, and this is more because of the red path than it being general. But like 8th edition World Eaters was just a thing. It was a vibe. I like 9th edition Codex and the 2 weeks of the Index. I don't really even kind of consider because it just didn't exist long enough. And 10th edition Index, we've discussed that ad nauseum now. This to me is kind of, it actually feels like our first real Codex. I know that's
I
kind
agree.
of weird, but we're going to have it for approximately a year, if not longer, hopefully, depending on how they roll into the next edition. We have detachments. We have that versatility that we've never had, even with Disciples and Berserker Warband. The things now, and because we're still a young army, we will, and it's going to take time, but we're going to get drip fed more models. We're going to get in a year. They'll give us another kit. I don't know what it will be. No idea. Will it be Juggernauts? Will it be Red Butchers? Will it be a Demon Engine? I don't know. We're going to get something. Everyone does. It will probably just be another character, but we're going to get drip fed this stuff, and then within the next 5 years, we'll finally get like the second half of the army. They'll do it eventually. So we have a future. We've had a past, and this is almost like the beginning of like the Angron's been reborn. He's been reborn and instantly stepped on, unfortunately, but the army lives on without him. Um, I I like it slash love it mostly because of the hope and the potential it offers, not because anything is immediately broken or winning GTs or anything. We've removed the toxicity because Angron doesn't bullshit you anymore, and we don't advance and charge you turn one anymore. So I can now have fun, good games. I'm not, curb stomping newer players with a toxic way to play the game. We can actually play for a couple of hours and go through and do the stuff I want to do. Um, yeah, I love it. I like.
So when are we getting our Red Butchers kill team?
Yeah, Dara.
Oh man, I don't know.
All right, closing thoughts, Dara.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably very much just agree with Jamie. This book is like, I can very simply say this is exactly how I think World Eaters should be written, and it's exactly how I want to play World Eaters. I love the versatility. I love the ability for independent playstyle expression, and yeah, I'm just incredibly thrilled about this book. What are you putting your hands up like that for, Brian? Can you give it out to me again?
I'm just cracking my nut. I can
Oh,
flip
yeah.
you off if I
Yeah,
want to.
yeah.
I mean, it's-
But yeah, no, I think overall, I am delighted with the book. I just can't wait to see what people do with it. Have a lot of new conversations with people about new things. It's nice to have some fresh stuff to talk about after like basically 2.5 years. Yeah, I struggle to see how I could have wanted anything more than what we've gotten. I think this is pretty close to being exactly as I want the World Eater Codex to be, while remaining balanced and fun. So I think that's about it, right, guys? We can close this one out.
I want to add one small thing because
You may.
I absolutely agree with you. There will be no codex ever for any army ever that doesn't have one data sheet that's just kind of written wrong in a weird way. That's just how Games Workshop's going to work. So I just want to say what all the attitudes that we have are taking into consideration the good, the bad, and the ugly. There will be a bad in every single codex, guys. Like that's just how the writing team, they can't get everything right all the time. So we're World Eaters, ride or die, baby.
Hell yeah.
That's where we're at. Ride or die.
And for anyone who tune in kind of later towards the end of the stream, we have a ton of content dropping starting tomorrow. Hop into the Discord if you want to see the full breakdown of what's coming up. Thank you once again, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. Check out the Discord, most important of all, to hang out with all of us. And yeah, it's a bright new time for all of us, folks. Thank you for being a wonderful bunch of people. And yeah, can't wait to see you all for the next one. So until then, folks, until I suppose what will be tomorrow, you stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, maim, burn. Okay, I think we're out.